When you think Kirby, you think pink. But that wasn't always the case. For this cute little guy's debut outing, Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy, he was depicted only as gray and or green. It took until 1993 for creator Masahiro Sakurai to finally right that wrong. Sakurai was originally tasked with porting Kirby's Dream Land to the NES, but realized that he could do better by creating an entirely new game for the more advanced hardware. While Dreamland was primarily designed with new gamers in mind, Sakurai hoped that he could make this sequel complex enough to entertain veteran gamers as well. Thus, Kirby's most celebrated ability was born: the ability to suck up enemies and obtain their powers. Now, in addition to jumping and floating, Kirby could wield a sword, shoot fire, drop like a rock, and so much more. While the stages were still on the easier side of platforming, this added depth and variety that kept players coming back to experiment with new combinations, and the Kirby franchise was changed forever. By the time Kirby's Adventure was released, the NES was already a decade old in its native Japan, but the appeal of Kirby proved strong enough to make an impact, even in competition with the latest, most advanced titles. Perhaps his new powers drew people in, or perhaps they were just excited to play with a Kirb of a different color. On today's episode, we think pink as we embark on Kirby's Adventure. It's a video game podcast.
Wow.
And there's so much to discuss.
So.
One of us knows all about them.
That's you.
And the other one's a dunce.
That's me.
You're gonna learn about the very best games with two annoying dorks.
Fatality.
From asteroids to Zelda, from adventure to Zork. We have no life, and we feel no shame. We need your help, 'cause we're bad with games. Bad with games. Welcome to the show. My name is Jonathan.
My name is Will.
And we are Bad with games.
I don't know if we had our cadence the same on that one. That was an interesting way you said that.
Well, I was trying to say it in a cute, smiley way because of this week's subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, of course, I'll introduce it now, Kirby's Adventure. Released for the NES in 1993. Yay!
Yay! This is our second Kirby game. When was the first one? Was it 92?
It was 92 on the Game Boy, Kirby's Dream Land, which we just played not that long ago on the show. And we're already returning for a second go-round to the world of Dreamland. The land of dream.
Kirby go round.
Yeah, I would love a Kirby go-round.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into the show today, I did want to. Well, first, I just want to gauge, how are we feeling? How are the vibes this week? Is the energy good? Are we in a good place? Are we feeling good?
Sure, the energy's good, I guess. I don't know what.
Well, just last week was a little tense.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, and we may talk a little bit about last week later on in today's show.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't want to put the cart before the horse if I understand what that saying means. Is that what that means?
Yeah, I think that's what that means. Maybe.
That just means I don't want to talk about one thing.
Wrong.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I don't know that that's quite right, but I mean, it would be the different order if we did it that way. It's not normally how we do it.
Horse-related phrases there are that we say.
We don't really. It's crazy. We used to use horses all the time. We don't really do it anymore.
Anyway, before we get into the show, I thought maybe this will help make sure the vibes are good. Look, this is a little off topic, so I'm wasting time a little bit right now. But I thought this would be fun. I have an idea for a new character.
Uh-oh.
And I thought I would try it out on the show. And maybe you and the listeners could write in and let me know if they think this is a character they'd like to see come back maybe every week.
Oh no.
On the show. I'll just do a little bit of it for you now and we'll see what you think.
Yeah, let's hear this character.
All right, here goes. This is not me. This is a new character.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, my fellow Americans. I am running for president, and I believe in affordable health care. And, well, my friends across the aisle, they believe in the right to bear arms. But I approach things a little bit differently. I believe in the right to have giant knives in your arms that you can shoot out and then grow new ones. And I also believe in the right to have sharp, jagged teeth in a mouth that is too wide for a human face. You should vote for me this November. My name is Barack Obama. Barack Obama is the character. So that's sort of the gist of that. That's just like a sample of what kinds of things that character might do or say. If I get the go ahead, if people think that this is a good character. Any first impressions? It sounds like you like it. I'm hearing approval. Am I hearing? I think I'm hearing approval. That must be it. I mean, I'll just assume that's what I'm hearing. I've got to assume that's what that is. So you like it. I'd just love to get a verbal confirmation that you like it. Do you like Barack Obama?
It's not even relevant to the game that we played.
Mortal Kombat in theater. It's part of the season.
Yes.
It's the season. I mean, we're in the Mortal Kombat season. The movie just came out.
This is relevant.
You think Obama's not relevant? I still see him show up from time to time to defend Israel or something.
Listen. If you want to hear our thoughts on the Mortal Kombat movie, because we did go see it in theaters opening night, the two of us, but we didn't talk about it on the free version of the podcast.
It's adorable hearing you try to do the logistical part of the podcast.
I mean, I don't really. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. That's why I like it so much when you do it.
Well, you can hear that over at patreon.com/badwithgames, $5 a month. You get those extra bonus episodes. And hey, if you want the free stuff, you're either listening to it right now, wherever you get your podcasts, or maybe you're watching it on YouTube at Bad With Games. And you can see footage of us playing Kirby's Adventure this very week on the NES as we have our discussion. You're also going to want to go ahead and follow us over at twitch.tv/badwithgamespodcast, where starting this week, we're going to be streaming somewhat regularly, hopefully every Saturday afternoon, or possibly even more days than that, of various games. But stay tuned, because we're going to be talking about that later on in the episode. What a great time we're going to have today. Don't forget to check out our sister channel at Worse With Games, where we post our music videos for the song parodies and sometimes bonus videos too. All right. See, we're having a good time already. Wait till you meet Barack Obama's wife, Melina Shell Obama.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
And his two daughters, Scorpion and Sub-Zero. All right. Now, let's get on to Kirby's Adventure. Wow, an adventure. We're going to have an adventure this week.
Yay!
This is the part of the show where we're going to learn our lore.
Sure.
Now, we previously did play Kirby's Dream Land, so remind me and the listeners, what you thought of Kirby's Dream Land and what your expectations were here.
So I don't remember what I said about my general Kirby lore, but I will hopefully reiterate, because hopefully I said something to this extent last time, that Kirby games, to me, I don't know how to differentiate any of them. I know that they exist. I have a general idea of or I knew before playing the first one that they existed. I knew generally what the vibes were. I'd played Kirby in like Smash. I'd probably played along or with somebody, or like maybe you made me play a level, or I don't know.
Mhm.
But generally speaking, I'm not really like looking at this game and saying like, "Oh, adventure, I see. I know which one that is," or I have some idea of what that might entail. Um so the first Kirby game that we played, I'm looking here for my score. I gave it an 8 out of 10, I believe. And as I recall for that game, I liked Kirby. I thought he was cute. I thought it was a lot of fun. Uh, and I think I might have had some issues surrounding like the bosses or something. Does that
Mhm. You
sound
had some
right?
you had some challenges, difficulty-wise and frustration of fighting some of the bosses.
Yes, I think that it was somewhat of an issue of maybe like a discrepancy between the general play style and the fact that then the bosses were for me relatively hard, and they didn't, it felt like a huge step up in challenge from the regular thing. Now I did beat all of them. Um I don't know, maybe you can remind me the specifics of exactly what I was saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the gist of it. We don't need to get to the, people can
Okay.
listen to the episode if they're that curious. But yeah,
Yeah.
you had some trouble, but you did in the end beat the entire game, which is a rarity for you.
It is a rarity for me, yes, and I believe there was, oh yeah, and I think it was something about like the process of beating them didn't feel particularly gratifying. It was just like, okay, I've done that now. But yes, in terms of what I expected from this game, I knew two things about this game going into it. One was that in this game I would be able to take powers from things, and two was that in this game Kirby would be pink instead of white. And both of those things were true.
Yep, both of those things are true. Yeah, this is Kirby's Adventure. I also played it this week for the show. And as I was playing it, I did sort of realize, I don't even know. I definitely didn't beat this game before. I'm not even sure how much I've played this one. It's a weird thing with Kirby because there are so many Kirby games, and a lot of them share very similar DNA. And I just don't think I ever really went back to this one. I had said previously, Kirby's Dream Land, I believe, was the first video game I ever played. And I am overall a huge Kirby fan. But I think my Kirby fandom really kicked in a little bit later. And some of these NES titles I didn't play as much. So this was kind of an experience of, oh, I know every single thing that's in this game because it's in every Kirby game, but also maybe I haven't quite seen it in some of these specific ways. So we'll talk about how that shook out in just a minute. But before we do, we got to break down the box art.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at the Kirby's Adventure box art, which prominently features Kirby himself, big, puffed up, center stage, sucking in, kind of breaking the fourth wall, I guess.
Yeah,
Kind
eating
of,
the fourth wall, you might say.
he is eating the fourth wall.
Chewing the scenery, maybe?
Okay. He's really Deadpooling it up. He is sucking. It's as if the backdrop of the image is an ocean scene with an island in the background, and it's as if Kirby that backdrop is a physical paper backdrop, like on a stage, and Kirby is sucking it in, revealing that behind the curtain is a black void with pink stars and little monsters. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there's any particular monster. They're just like black circles with little 3D eyes on them.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess there's enemies in the game that look like that.
Yes, I mean,
Probably.
sort of, kinda.
I don't know. They're the soot balls from Spirited Away, I guess. I don't know
Yeah,
what
a
those
little less
are.
detailed.
Yeah,
They're
they're
just
more.
round.
Yeah, they're just circles. They're not
Yeah,
soot.
yeah.
I don't know. Well, I mean, Kirby's sucking,
Yeah,
which he did do in the first game too.
mm-hmm.
But now we know. I mean, that is interesting. I think of the Super Mario Brothers 3 box art, which is similar to this. Although this has a background instead of just a color, but it's the same. Like, it's your guy. He's in the front. He's flying.
Mhm.
Boom, let's go to town. But like that game was all about, hey, here he is with the raccoon suit, so you know what you're getting. So you'd think that Kirby's Adventure box art might show you, let's tell the folks now he can get powers. It doesn't really actually tell you that though, if you don't know
No.
that.
No, it doesn't really actually tell you that. I mean, that being said, I do love this. I like Kirby. I like that he sucks things up in his mouth and eats them. I do think that a good Kirby box art should probably involve him sucking something up, and I love the idea that he's eating the box itself, right? Like this is the little paper insert, right, in the actual box, or like, I guess this isn't at the time, they were probably just pure cardboard boxes, but, like, I don't know, at some point, we got these, like, paper inserts that you have in in-game cases, and you can imagine Kirby is eating one of that off of the box. It's good, I like it.
So you think they future proofed this?
Maybe they did, maybe they did. Maybe the cause and effect went the other way. Some guys were looking at this box art, they were like, "Damn, what if it actually was, like, a piece of paper and you could, like, swap it out? You could eat the one that was on there."
Yeah.
Just eat it, and then it would look different.
Mhm. I do really like the way that the background is drawn. It looks like a sheet. There's something very
Mhm.
pleasing to the eye about the way it's folding and crinkling. I don't know what we're supposed to believe is behind it. Like, it would make more
Yeah,
sense to
a
me if it was
void of some
like,
kind.
oh,
Mhm.
the main background is something boring, and then once he sucks it back, it's like, oh, there's a fun game that he's uncovering
Hmm.
or something like that, or maybe there's a rainbow. I
Yeah.
don't know, something.
I mean, to me, it more just looks like he's eating everything. He's some kind of, like, extra dimensional menace, right? He consumes reality, and behind it is some sort of strange void with dark creatures and right, it's the Tadash behind
Yeah.
him as he
He's
yeah.
he's fucking Galactus. Kirby would eat Galactus.
He would, that's true.
I'm sure one of those stupid YouTube channels that says who would win in a fight has
Mm.
decided that Kirby is the most OP unbeatable character in fiction or something. He'll beat Goku and Superman and whatever.
I mean, here's the problem with Goku is though Goku has in fact been eaten and then by a big
Oh,
pink thing and then beaten it from
shit.
inside
You're right.
after being transformed into a piece of candy.
Yeah, Kirby or Majin Buu.
Yeah, that's a question.
How about what do we think about these little whiskers Kirby has? Is that like an anime thing? What are these little marks on his
Yeah,
cheeks?
I don't quite know. I don't know if those are supposed to be like stylized whiskers or if those are supposed to be little like happy wrinkles or something. I don't know what they are. They're cute.
I
I
think
like
that's
them.
what it is. Yeah, I think it's like little wrinkles.
Mhm.
I don't know. It makes me think of the kind of lines you would see on a 40s Mickey Mouse cartoon or something like that. Like their gloves, like a cartoon character's gloves, or I don't know, right? They would have little marks like that
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I get the Mickey vibes.
He's pink. He's pink now.
He is pink now.
He wasn't
He's a
pink
very
before.
pale pink, almost like they're trying to ease you into it.
Yeah, we don't want to scare you
Right.
away.
Right. Like in the game itself, he's very pink, but you know,
That's
that
true. Yeah, he is almost more white in the center
Mhm.
because I guess it's like a light reflecting on him, but it does give that impression. Huh.
Yeah.
They didn't
Yeah.
just want to scare people off.
Right. They want a gradient in your Kirby game box arts.
Also, I don't understand. I don't know if you see this. There's an asterisk next to the trademark symbol, and I don't know what that asterisk is. So maybe there's another part of the box that has something on it, like trademark, but not really. You can use Kirby. Actually, we forgot to do this part.
Oh,
I don't know what
yeah,
that
that's
is.
weird. I don't know what that is either.
Oh well. Maybe Kirby's public domain and nobody ever figured it out. I'm the first person who cracked the code.
Well, you'll find out from your if your song parodies get claimed.
That's right. Let's talk about Kirby. Let's talk about
Oh
DDD.
boy.
I should have done that one.
Oh, that's
All right.
good.
Okay. Kirby's Adventure, which I guess that was also the adventure theme was big at the time. We had Adventure of Link. Now it's Kirby's Adventure.
Mm. Was it
There was
actually
a
big at the time, or did you just happen to lump them all up here?
well, there was Adventures of Lolo is another game
Mm.
series that came
I mean,
out.
there's also Adventure.
Right, sure. There's Adventure. Yeah.
That one was a while ago, though.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's something. It is interesting, they didn't go with it's not Kirby's Dream Land 2. It's not
Mhm.
Kirby colon something. It's Kirby's Adventure, which I guess they thought only a year later, maybe they think that Kirby had enough name recognition? Or I mean, it kind of just works on it. It's not like Kirby's Dream
Mhm.
Land. Anyone knew what that meant either, so who cares?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, like, I don't know. It feels really hard to keep them apart. Like, I was asked this week, which Kirby are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. Is it Dreamland? Was that the one I already did? He's in Dreamland in this one. I think he might always be there.
Yeah, it's pretty much always in Dreamland. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is a more generic name than Dreamland. That
Mhm.
kind of you're like, oh, what's Dreamland? Anyone can have an adventure, though. By the way, just for future reference, there is a Kirby's Dream Land 2 and 3, so they did go back to that eventually. So
Okay,
technically,
so
this is
so
its
this is
own
not a
thing.
sequel. This is its own like separate entry in the yeah.
Yeah, I have. Why did
Totally
they do
different
that?
game.
No clue. No idea why
Right.
they did
That's how
that.
you know the difference that Dreamland 2 and 3 are very similar to the original, whereas this is completely new direction.
Yeah. Well, Kirby's Dream Land 2 is on the Game Boy, so that makes
Mm,
sense.
I see. So the Dreamlands are for the Game Boy.
Yeah. But Kirby's Dream Land 3 is on Super Nintendo.
Hmm.
So,
Damn, the third one, and we're only on the SNES, and we still and we
yeah.
still have other. There are a lot of Curb games coming out.
Well, here's the thing. That's maybe that's where we start here.
Hmm.
Start. I'm thinking of
Hmm.
Dreamland.
Hmm.
This game, as I said, did come out in 1993. Okay, this is the same year as Myst. This is 2 years after Sonic, a couple years after Mario World. This is 2 years after Link to the Past. Like we are in full throttle on the Super Nintendo at this point in time.
Hmm.
The Super Nintendo came out in 91, I want to say, in the States. Maybe it was 1990 in Japan. So this is a very late NES game. All the other NES games we've played have been from the 80s. Don't fact check me on that in case I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's true. And so this is kind of a weird, to us, it seems, or at least to me, it seems weird, like from a modern perspective. But at the time, the NES was still so popular that I guess they just thought we should still be putting out some games for this thing. There's still a lot of people to buy it, but it is a kind of a strange thing to keep in mind and look at this and think, well, this is a late stage NES game. What were they able to do with this system that they weren't able to do 5 or 6 years earlier? And does it hold up to, if you're playing Mario World already on the Super Nintendo? I don't know. Well,
Yeah, I mean, that is interesting because I mean, this is late. That was another point of confusion for me. In
mhm.
addition to answering the which Kirby game are you playing, was like which system is it on? Is it on the NES or S? I think I mean I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember. um. So
Count the
yeah, which
bits.
I guess that makes sense, right? Like this is very late for an NES game. It's interesting. Like I don't know what to make of like what should be the standards on making games for systems. Like when did I guess I'm just very used to like a modern idea of like yeah, maybe in like the last year you get some overlap, but for the most part when there's a new system everything goes to the new system. Maybe there's some kind of backwards or forwards compatibility. But this would have been pretty new into the idea of saying like hey, there's a new system. It's better now. And I don't really know like when those standards got made or what people thought those standards should be. Like it is interesting to hear you say like, well, there's still a lot of NESs, we should still make games for them. Like would that be a mindset if we were like 5 years past when it like the SNES came out? I don't know.
I mean, you almost are. It's not that
Yeah,
far from that.
That's yeah,
This
that's
is
what
3
I'm
years
wondering.
before the N64 comes out. So it's like right in the
Mhm,
middle of the two consoles, which is yeah, it is a strange transition. I think it happens more often than at least for me my memory remembers.
mhm,
My headcanon is that like, oh, as soon as the next system came out, that was the end of the system before it. But in reality, I think there's always some overlap.
mhm.
Even today, for instance, the Tomodachi Life, a new Tomodachi Life just came out on the regular Switch, not on the Switch 2. Um, so it still happens now. And also at the time, I think we maybe have brought this up once or twice before. When the Super Nintendo first was revealed, people were actually confused because the
Mhm.
idea of console lifespans didn't exist yet. Like the
Right.
Atari 2600 had been out for like 10 straight years, right? And that
Yeah.
was it. And so a lot of especially parents were going, "What, I got to buy another one of these things? We already have one. What's so good about this new one?" So there's probably a lot more kids who couldn't convince their parents to buy the new one. So they're
Hmm.
like, "I still want something for this one, please."
Yeah, and it's not like what is the SNES doing? It's saying, "Okay, I have better graphical capabilities. I have better sound capabilities, presumably. I have more buttons and inputs," but it's I mean, it kinda looks very similar, right? Um,
Kind
in
of.
terms of yeah, it's not like, okay, sure, you have your NES or whatever, but this one has all its games in 3D. Like, that's just fundamentally different,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
It's
yeah.
not like that.
But yeah, I mean, there are, there's games like F-Zero and Star Fox that were doing a pseudo 3D thing. And I also do think that maybe you're a little rose-colored glasses right now from playing Kirby's Adventure because I mean, if you look at OG Super Mario Brothers compared to Super
Mhm.
Mario World, it is a night and day difference.
Right, right, right. But in terms of what it's capable of, like in terms of like by the end of the system, what am I doing with it? Because like yes, I have that, but they did make this Kirby game for the NES, right? Like it is capable of putting this out, even though clearly it takes a lot more technical work and know-how for the programmers.
Yeah. It's not as drastic a leap as obviously we'll see when we go 3D or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
just jumping to 3D to me feels like an easier sell to your parents, right? Because that
sure.
is the holy shit. I can't believe it does that. Um,
Right.
yeah,
That's when you show them Wolfenstein and you say, "Well, you can't do this on an NES."
right, right.
The bloodless Nazi-free Wolfenstein that's on our Super Nintendo. All right, so Kirby's Adventure.
Kirby's
What?
Adventure.
Give me your first impressions, and maybe talk about also what we were just talking about in terms of like, did this feel impressive to you for an NES game? Was that something
Mhm.
you were conscious of and going, "Whoa, there's like stuff in here that I wouldn't have seen from another earlier NES game"?
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder because I hadn't been thinking about it from that perspective. I had been, and I have seen more SNES games now. So I hadn't really been comparing this to NES games, when I was playing it. Yeah, that's interesting. I will think about that. My general first impressions were less along those lines. They were me kind of comparing it gameplay wise to, um, the
Dreamland.
original Kirby on the Game Boy. Yeah, Dreamland. And I won't remember the names.
It's Dreamland. You only have two right now. It's not that confusing.
It's kind of
Dreamland
confusing.
Adventure.
It's a little confusing.
All
They're in the
right.
opposite alphabetical. Anyway, and I mean, generally, I will say I do think it's extraordinarily similar to the first Kirby game. There's not that many. Like, yes, okay, you can eat enemies for their power ups, and that's kind of fun, but I don't know. Like, it's not like you ever have to do that. Like, if you were to never do that while playing this game, it would play pretty much exactly the same as the other one. So, like, that's a fun thing that you get to do, but it's not really Like, I don't know. Does that make sense to you? Kind of what I'm saying. Like because this is the thing that the original Kirby did too, is that the regular levels are relatively easy to get through, and then the boss fights are hard. And it seems like basically in this game, the boss fights you're not really bringing powers for, and because you still need to just suck up and spit back. And then the regular game, I could burp at him, or I could suck him up, or I could hit him with a sword, or I could hit him with some fire. And like it's fun to be able to do that, but it's playing about the same. Um, it does have those mini games. I did think that those were kind of fun. Those were neat. I liked those. But a lot of it was fairly similar. Yeah, it's interesting because I do think it looks. I wonder if I could get a list of all the NES games so I can keep them straight in my head. But I do think it looks relatively good for an NES game. It is colorful. It is, I don't know, nice and bright. All the little guy designs look good. Kirby being pink is fun. Uh, uh, but yeah, I don't know. I think I did have a couple of issues with slowdown occasionally, especially if there were too many things on screen that did fuck me up a few times.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of my initial impression, is that it's very, very similar to the first, despite the additional things that you get to do.
Well, we never, explained this game for anyone who's not watching our video. Briefly, I'll just let
Oh
anyone
yeah,
in.
sure, sure, sure.
This is a platformer. You play as
Hmm.
Kirby. There are multiple worlds, which they, to my chagrin, call levels. And each level
Mm.
has multiple stages in it, I guess. I don't know. This
Oh
pisses me
God.
off.
Yes, I'm going to call that worlds and
They're
state. Yeah,
worlds, but they
yeah.
say level 2 on the screen even. It's not even just the manual. They're
Mm.
canonically called levels.
Hmm.
Don't like that at all. And within each stage inside the larger levels, you're just trying to get to the end, and along the way there's enemies which you can suck up, shoot back out, or you can swallow the enemies now and get powers. And Kirby can still fly, so you can float over everything if you tap the buttons, etc., etc. He does have a couple of new moves in this one. He can slide
Hmm.
now, so if you hold down an A, he'll slide forward or slide the direction that you're facing him. And that's really the only that's really the only new move that he has. He can slide. I think he's maybe a little faster now as well. I don't remember if you could run in the original game or not, but he
Yeah,
can
you
run
can
now.
run with him now. Hmm.
And yes, I mean, the power ups are obviously the big differentiating factor here.
Hmm.
That he can suck up enemies. This is the thing everyone knows Kirby for, and he gets their abilities. And I do think it is. I sort of understand what you're saying in
Hmm.
that it doesn't actually. I do agree. In practice, it doesn't actually feel dramatically different than Kirby's Dream Land felt to play.
Hmm.
Um, Even though you'd think, oh, I'm getting powers, so like all the time I can do a beam move, I can do a sword, I can throw a cutter or whatever, I can shoot a fireball, I can do all these things all the time. That should really shake it up and make it feel like a totally different experience. But it is just kind of another, well, I'm pressing B and I'm hitting them with this instead of sucking them up. It's not
Hmm.
so different in practice.
Yeah, I
Um,
was wondering if you were going to say that or not, because I do think there could potentially also be a discrepancy between, like, you know, when I'm playing Kirby, even on the quote unquote easy parts, I am trying, right? Like I can sometimes die while playing Kirby, even the like non-boss parts. And I feel like there might be a difference where for you it's just like, yeah, I'm just running around doing things, and more things to do is more fun because I have more things to do. Whereas for me, like I'm not just running around doing things. Like I am trying to beat the level. And so having more tools that don't help me beat the level any better is like, yeah, those are fun too. But they're not getting me. You know what I mean? Like there could be a difference, but I wasn't sure.
yeah, well, I do think that more things is more fun.
Hmm.
I mean, I do think if Kirby in Kirby's Dream Land could suck things up like this and get powers, it would improve that game. Like I do
Mhm.
think it is better to have more moves. It's more interesting. There's a variety of stuff that you can do. My biggest issue with this Kirby game is I feel like compared to a much later your average Kirby game that would come out in recent years, it's really easy to lose your
Mm.
power-ups.
Mm.
Anytime you get hit, that's it. Your power up is gone. A little star will come out, and you can try to resuck it up and get the power up back, which you can do, and it's not that hard. Although it can be annoying because it's bouncing around the stage and there's enemies, and sometimes then it disappears, and you're like, God damn it! I just want this power up. And so I found that I think it's because the game is so easy that I play it somewhat carelessly.
Mhm.
So I don't find the game hard, and I rarely died. I think I got one game over, which was towards the very end of the game. That's also because I don't turn my system off, so all my one ups accumulated throughout the game, so it's very easy for me to keep extra lives.
Yeah, well, you
But
also aren't getting game overs. Like if you are averaging multiple game overs every boss, then you don't actually accumulate those.
right, well, if you're dying, then you don't accumulate them. Yes, we can talk about that in
Yeah.
a minute. But my point is just that like the game itself is pretty easy, but I think if you when you're actually watching me play, it's not like I'm that good at it. Like I'm getting
Mm.
hit
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
Like all the time enemies are hitting me. And I'm just kind of shrugging it off and like, well, there's enough health power-ups or the
Mhm.
levels are so short that by the time I'm done, it's like I get another one up and yeah, I'll die at the next level because now I only have one health left, but it doesn't really matter because I can just keep on brute forcing my way through. And so I would always be losing my power ups, and it's a weird thing because I obviously want to be using my power ups because I think they're very fun, but a lot of times it is more of a hassle. It feels to me to try to keep them and use them than it is to just go screw it. I lost my power up. I can
Mhm.
just suck up enemies. Like I don't
Right.
need it. I'll just keep
Right. Yeah. I
going.
mean that is interesting because like to me the main benefit of them is to have variety, so that never really bothered me.
Mm.
It's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, I honestly, I enjoy sucking up enemies and spitting them out as stars enough, about as much as any given power up. So I'm never like, oh no, I lost my cool power up, which is the one I really want. I'm always like, okay, well, I have my power up, I'll use that. Oh, I lost it. Cool. I get to suck up enemies. Oh, hey, I got a new power up. Now I get to do that. Oh, I lost it. Well, cool. There's another one right there. Now I get to do that. And so I can constantly be changing up what I'm doing. And it doesn't really bother me that I'm not stuck on, like, quote unquote, my favorite. There
Yeah,
are
that
ones I
is.
like better than others, but,
It's not even I mean, sometimes it is because it's one that I like, but sometimes I'm just like, I don't know, I had a thing going, like, I wanted to be sword guy for a minute, and then they're like, "No, you're not sword
Mm-hmm.
guy anymore." Now, it is true, there are enemies everywhere with powers, so you're rarely going more than 3 seconds without another guy you can suck up. So you can
Yeah.
just keep sucking up a new guy every time you lose it, and that's fine. You'll always have something to do.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, it's interesting you say sword guy because that is one of the advantages of the sword power up is that you have a sword now. Um,
I'd say that's the main advantage of the sword power
Well,
up, yeah.
yeah, but what I mean is, I think one of my bigger issues with the power ups is that you don't really like change, right? Like Kirby doesn't. I'm used to Kirby like you suck up a guy and now he kind of looks like that guy. You know what I mean? Like I should
Mm.
get like a little hat because the guy had a little hat. Um, and this Kirby, like, he'll get like a parasol or a sword or something if the enemy had it, but a lot of times, it's like I suck up a rock guy, and that means I can turn into a rock, but I don't really look like a rock guy. And I did think that that was kind of a miss for me because so much of what I personally enjoy about Kirby is the like nonstop barrage of cute little guys. There are just so many different ones. And I just feel like we could have put a little bit of sprite space in there to give me more different Kirby's, right? Because that would make me really want to like instead of being like I could suck them up to use the power, or I could not because I do like just sucking up and spitting enemies. I don't need powers to have fun. I would really want to be sucking up enemies if I turned into them because then I'd get to see Kirby look like really different every time.
Yeah, I think that's gotta be a limitation of the NES. that it just was too much to
I guess.
completely change his sprite each time.
Yeah, but I mean, there are already so many guys. Like they could have cut down
True.
some of the guys to make more Kirby's or something. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
perhaps. Or they just thought like, I don't know, they just didn't have that idea yet
Yeah.
to
Yeah, no, that
do that.
that's what I was assuming, because I mean, if this is the first time he's sucking up people and taking their powers, it's not necessarily obvious that that's what you want to do, that he actually changes into them instead of can just use the thing. But
But
maybe it was a limitation.
I do think it becomes more obvious when you do have better graphics, because then you're like, oh, well, how do we really want to show the players that they got a cool new power. So
Mhm.
let's I mean, literally the way you know you have a power in this game is on the bottom of the screen in your UI. It
Yeah.
lists the name of the power. So I
Yeah,
think,
it also shades him slightly differently, but
yes, some of them like he'll turn blue or something like that,
yeah.
or like you said, he might
Oh,
have the hammer or whatever.
I thought you were gonna be proud of me because he turns, like, slightly salmon when he has any power. He's not quite the same
Slightly
shade,
salmon.
and I thought you were gonna be like, "Ooh, I'm so happy you noticed that because you're normally so
Nope.
bad at seeing things."
No, don't care. That doesn't impress me at
Okay.
all.
Okay.
Not interested in that.
I mean, I will say I did like the, little thing at the bottom that shows you what power you have or says, like, "Ouch," when you get hit. I like that thing. I don't remember if that was there on the Game Boy or not.
No, because there just wasn't enough screen real estate
Mhm.
for that kind of thing. There was a little bar at the bottom showing you your health and stuff like that, though.
Mhm.
So, I mean, which of the powers were your favorites, or that you found that you liked, or were there some that you thought were useless? Because there were some that I thought were useless.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot that weren't really all that good, but I enjoyed the laser. I thought it was a lot of fun shooting the laser. I like how it bends around corners and stuff. That was good. And I like being a rock. I think Kirby being a rock is just like it's a thing he should be able to do. And it's very fun to run up to enemies and then turn into a rock and fall on them as they're running up to you. Like it's good.
Yeah,
Those are my
I
favorites.
laser for me is number one for sure. I just think it's. I mean, I think it's well. Other than there's a UFO you can get, which is I think definitely the best one in the game, because you just can just fly around and shoot lasers and all kinds of shit. But as far as like normal ones you find more often,
Hmm.
it's the laser. It's a gun. It has a really
Hmm.
good range, and I found it was just the easiest to maintain and kill enemies with. Versus a lot of the ones like the needle and spark. Even freeze,
Hmm.
although I like that one too. You kind of need to be like
Yeah.
right next to the enemy to use it.
Yeah. I mean, I will
And
say the needle's the one where you get like a spiky turtleback, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I did like that one because you turn into like you change your sprite. Like anytime Kirby looks
Mm.
different from his power, I enjoy using it. So,
uh, I'm definitely I'm about the utility. I'm like, give me a
mhm,
ranged weapon. Give me something that will. I mean, I guess partially because it's so easy to lose the weapon. So
mhm,
anything that makes it so I can beat an enemy before they approach me is what I think is the
mhm.
best one. There's a couple in here that I have never seen that I didn't remember that I don't think became mainstays, whereas most of them did in later games. The one that stood out to me as like, what the hell? What is this good for? Is the ball. You can turn into a ball and bounce around, and I guess you can hit enemies if you
Oh, is
bounce
that?
on them.
I don't know that I did
But
that. Is that like the ball that the guys roll around on? Like if you suck up that ball and eat it?
No, it's like an enemy. It's like a round enemy that just is a ball.
Maybe I never got that one. I don't know. Because I
It's
remember
just you
sucking
might
up.
not have noticed that it was an enemy or like that you could suck it up.
Or yeah, I mean, I didn't always try every single thing. Sometimes I was just like, I'm gonna
There are
keep
a
going
lot.
so I don't get hit. Yeah. Like I remember the one that let you started rolling around. I don't know that you bounced around, but you would like roll back and forth along the. At one time, I killed myself with that because I rolled off of a platform.
Do you mean the wheel?
Yes, yeah, the wheel.
You like go really fast. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
wheel.
You like turn around and then you turn into a Metroid thing, whatever that's
You turn
called.
into a wheel. It's a wheel.
I mean, sure, but you
There's
turn
no
around and you roll
ambiguity.
along the ground.
Yes, like a wheel does.
Sure, but also like the Metroid Ball. It's a 2D platformer. A wheel and a sphere are 2D.
Sure. It says wheel at the bottom of the screen. Anyway, yeah, the wheel can be fun, but I feel like a lot of times it's a trap, and they're just like, use the wheel. Oh, there was the cliff, dumbass. That kind of thing. But the ball, I'm like, I can fly. Why would I want to bounce? Same thing with high jump. Now, high jump actually redeemed itself for me. This one just lets you jump high. At first, I did not understand it because I read the description. If you pause the game, it'll actually tell you what the move does, which is helpful. And I read that it says lets you jump super high. So I kept trying to jump with the A button and being like, is that high? I don't even notice the difference before I finally realized, oh, you press the B, but your power button.
Your power
to jump high.
to do it, yeah.
It's not, it's a different thing. And there actually was a boss fight with Krako that I think if you don't need the high jump, it's pretty damn useful. I don't know if there's another way to beat him, but I was like, okay, this is cool. The game actually showed me the application of this, and now I'm having fun with it. But again, in normal practice, I'm like, jump high. I can fly. Why the fuck do I want to jump high? I can fly. But that's me. There's some like there's the light power, which is very specific, which is literally just you're in a dark room and you can light it up. But I actually thought that was kind of fun. I had never seen that before either, or I didn't remember it.
Yeah, I thought that was fun too. I liked that.
There's also a thing where, if you suck up two different powers at once.
Oh yeah.
I
don't think they have to be different. I think they can just be any
just
two powers. Yeah.
So in later games, I think maybe this starts with 64. They actually do have a thing where you can combine abilities and get a new ability. So you could get like a fire sword or something. But in this game, it just gives you a random other power. So not as cool.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah, it can be fun unless you're like, well, I wanted that one. I didn't mean to suck up two at a time.
Right, yeah. I mean, again, I'm mostly just going through it like anything that's not a boss fight is generally easy enough that I'm not too worried about which power up I have. If it's a bad one, I can get rid of it because it's fine. You can just suck up every enemy and spit them, and that's actually a perfectly reasonable. Like sucking up enemies before they get close to you beats that enemy, and then you have full range by shooting it at the next enemy. So that's basically a laser. It's about as good.
I actually think in most of the boss fights, it's easier to not have a power up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do they even work against bosses? Because I didn't because maybe I was just having trouble with it, and I was like, well, clearly they're designed to suck.
Well, I shouldn't say. I guess I should. Let me say what I said because maybe I'm wrong. When I said boss fights, I'm thinking of like the mini bosses. I do think they work at least against some of the main level bosses, but I can't think of specifics. It's possible that some of them, like I said, like Krako, maybe do. Well, Krako requires a specific power. Or do you know what I'm talking about with the Krako fight? Did you do this Krako fight? He's the big cloud man with the eyeball.
Right. No, I know Krako. So I did a Krako fight. I did not actually complete this game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but did you lose to Krako? No,
I lost a lot. I lost a lot to Krako, but then I did beat him without it. You don't need it.
Oh, you didn't use the high jump?
No, I didn't use it. I mean, that might have made it easier because that was part of my burnout with this game. I was just like, I got to a point where I was just like, so like the opening. At the opening of this, I was like, okay, first that's like 10 minutes to beat the level and 5 minutes to beat the boss. And then the next level was like 10 minutes to beat the level and 10 minutes to beat the boss. And then I got to the Krako level and it was like 15 minutes to beat the level and like an hour to beat Krako. And I was like, I can't, if the bosses keep going up like this, I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean,
but I did beat him.
100% is because you did it the hard way.
Yeah, I guess that must be. But like up until that point, I had been running under the assumption that you couldn't hurt them with those because I had tried it and it didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I tried it and it didn't work, and they were all very clearly designed to suck things up. And the Krako fight, I did quickly figure out how you were supposed to do it, but I just and
Yeah,
then I
but
just
didn't you
couldn't do
figure
it.
out like they put a high jump enemy right there, and then you have to like jump up the stage? And so I was like, oh,
Mm,
they put this here for a reason, and it makes jumping up the
mm,
stage easy. And then once I got it to the top, literally you just jump into him with it, and it does a ton of damage, and
Yeah,
the fight's
interesting
over.
because yeah, I guess I got sidetracked because I sucked up those enemies and was trying to hit Krakow with them before I like trying to suck them up and then spit them at Krakow before we got to the top. And then that just wasn't working.
I
So
don't
I
think
was
you
like,
can
well, I can
hurt him
just
during
run to
that
the top.
phase.
Yeah, no, you can't. And so then I was like, I guess I just run to the top, and then I kind of forgot about those enemies because I was
This
running
is
to the top. Yeah,
classic you.
whatever. I beat him without it. I did do it, but
You made it harder on yourself, and you still beat it. So in a way, it's more. You gave yourself like a challenge.
mm. I mean, I didn't mean to make it harder on myself.
No, no, you never do.
I never do. No.
But you always find a way. You always figure it out somehow. You really should start playing games and just go, what's the opposite of what I think I should be doing right now? And just try the other
Mhm.
tactic, and it might work. Like
But I don't
probably
even
half the
know what
time.
the problem is that it's not the opposite. The problem is that
Right.
like if I were to be all like what tactics don't work, right? Cuz in my head I'm like I'm doing this cuz this is the way to do it. So I would have to be like what ways to do it don't work. I should try one of them. I can think of several dozen. One of them is actually the correct way and does work. But the other ones I was right, they don't work. So I don't, it's that's really the problem.
Well, this brings us to our next subject. So, uh,
Mhm.
this game was not originally part of this season. A little behind the scenes.
Yes.
We were actually at one point going to play Donkey Kong Country, and think it was after we played World.
Mhm.
Was it Mario World, or did we play another platformer after that? I think it was Mario World. Well, I guess we did play Sonic, but I kind of decided I don't think you're ready for Donkey Kong Country. I think we've had enough bad experiences with
Mhm.
platformers, and this just isn't. We don't need to go through this again this season. And
Mhm.
it was actually one of our viewers, I believe it was John Solomon. Uh, I think I'm giving you credit. I didn't look it up. Who at one point, when we were playing all these Mario games, was commenting and saying that he thought Kirby's Adventure specifically would be a good training ground for you, would be a good get your feet wet, get some more experience, learn to be better at platforming games. Because for anyone who doesn't know, you are famously terrible at them.
I am.
So, how did that? Do you think this game was good for that reason? How far did you get, and did you find it overall like more frustrating or difficult to play, or as difficult as other platformers?
Yeah, so I mean, I would put this similar feelings to the original Kirby. Like when I honestly, a lot of what I was saying at the beginning of this, I was trying to remember how much of that was just my experience with this game and how much was the original Kirby. Because I was finding that, like, generally speaking, the platform and play when I'm doing the levels, not too bad. The the bosses are a huge step up, and I do think it's similar to what you were saying with, you play careless because the game is relatively easy. I think that the most of the game here is easy enough that I don't need to lock in, and I can just get hit a bunch and be like, "It's fine." And then I get to the bosses and I'm like, "Oh god, this is too hard for me. I need to actually play well." And then I die a whole bunch trying to figure out how to do that. So I don't it's weird. It doesn't quite hit that point for me, but maybe it would have been easier if I were trying power-ups. I don't know. I don't know. That being said, I mean, really, the main reason I didn't finish this was because, like, after Mist, I waited until like Friday to start this, and I was like, okay, I'll play a couple levels, I'll play a couple more levels, and then I just got, and it would have been fine had it taken as long to beat this as it took the original Kirby. But then I got stuck on that Krakow, and I was just so beat. Um, but I came back and I beat Krakow this morning because I was like, I better put in one last attempt, and then world or level 5, the one right after Krakow, went pretty easily, and the boss went pretty easily, and I was like, if I didn't have that issue with Krakow, I think it would have been no problem finishing this, even starting on Friday.
Yeah.
But
Well, so you straight up, I mean, you got to world 6. There's only 7 worlds.
yeah, I got to the start of World 6, and then I was like, well, that's just where I am. But had I not spent like 2 worlds worth of time just fighting Krakow, not even beating the level
Yeah.
before him, yes, I would have. Yes, 100%, I would have done it.
It's interesting. I mean, I understand Krakow kind of requires, I mean, that's kind of why I think he's my favorite boss in the game, is
Mm-hmm.
because he actually makes you think, dare I say it, outside the box.
Hmm.
Yet again, a recurring theme coming up with you.
It's Yeah, I guess so. Except, I mean, I don't know. I beat him using my inside the box tools.
I mean,
I mean,
yes, but it also
yeah.
almost killed you by doing it.
Yes, no, it's true. It did. Yeah, I mean, my problems with Krakow really were just like it doesn't just drop you into the stage. You have to go up through the clouds the whole way. It's hard for me to consistently get to the boss fight without taking damage on the way up. There are areas that in the original Kirby were like safe spots. They were like his attacks couldn't hit you. And I found that 70% of the time or so, they were safe spots here, but sometimes he would just randomly be able to hit you there with the same attack pattern, and I could not tell why. So I had started off doing this pattern where I run to the safe zone, then do the thing and repeat, and then I would just get killed, and I'd be like, I don't really understand what's happening here. And then even once I figured out ways around that, it was just execution on it that was difficult.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is partially the game's fault, dare I say, or you might at least put this forward,
Hmm.
that up until this point, you don't need to, like, you just need to
Hmm.
play. The game didn't really teach you, because I would almost say, well, this is kind of like you would talk about with Legend of Zelda, where you would
Hmm.
say, oh, this is too hard, so clearly I need to be doing something else. Like the game, the
Hmm.
reason it's so hard and impossible to do that way is because the game doesn't want you to do it that way.
Hmm.
It's like screaming at you,
It
please stop.
It's yeah, it's interesting because like all the other bosses you can do that way, and maybe you're
Yeah.
even supposed to. I also wonder if it wasn't because I played Kirby's Dream Land where every boss you beat the same way, basically, right? Like every single boss, you suck up a thing when they shoot it at you, and then you spit it back at them. And so every single boss here that's a way that you get to beat it. You suck up the thing, they shoot at you, and then you spit it back at them. And so um, like if I fuck up once with the power up and I'm like, oh, they're just throwing things at me to spit at them constantly. Clearly, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I've always been supposed to do. Because I think in the original Kirby, I had trouble where like it wasn't always obvious to me that that was what I was supposed to do. Whereas now I'm just like, yeah, it's Kirby. That's how you beat the bosses, and they're all doing the same thing. So it just never occurs to me to not do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the experience I had the first few times I fought him, where I was like, I don't get it.
Mm,
But then I just figured it
mm.
out.
Yeah,
um,
yeah. I mean, I guess I see that, but like you said, you didn't know if you could beat him that way, whereas I did. I did figure out
yeah.
how to do it,
Yeah.
and I did. I figured out how to do it relatively quickly. It's just that then actually doing it was too hard.
Another thing, I mean, obviously there's power ups in this game there weren't in Dreamland, but this game
Mm-hmm.
also adds, besides the little mini games, when you're playing
Mm-hmm.
through the levels, you can also find museums and arenas.
Mm-hmm.
And these are places where you can get power ups outside of a level. So that also feels like
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little bit of an indicator of, oh, maybe there's times when you want to get a
Yeah.
power up there and bring it in to a level, for instance.
Yeah. Again, if there were more levels, it really does come down with Kirby to the discrepancy between you don't need to do any of this shit anywhere and anywhere like other than the boss fights, because I did those for fun sometimes, but I was always just kind of like, I don't actually. I can start a level without a power up, and that won't matter. Or I can grab one of these power ups and start, and I'll probably lose it pretty quickly, but that doesn't matter because I'll get another. Like, it's just for fun. It's just for fun. Because that's kind of what it is. Like, it doesn't occur to me that, like, maybe I need it for a boss fight or something, because
Yeah.
I don't know, I got it for the regular levels and I didn't need it, and the game's just for fun, so
Yeah. I actually think overall, I would say this game is definitely easier than Dreamland, in my
Mm,
opinion.
interesting.
For the main reason being, I mean, obviously you have power ups now, so if you have a good power up, that can help. But
Mhm.
I think just by virtue of the fact that you have more screen real estate, I think a lot of
Hmm.
the difficulty on the Game Boy is they got a tiny little 240p ass, whatever it is, screen, and there's all these enemies, and you're like, it's much more finicky to move out of the way and avoid stuff. And I think in the NES adventure game, it's much easier to fly all the way around. The enemies are not that much bigger than you. There's just more space to be able to avoid things. And so I like where I actually, like you, found some of the bosses in the Game Boy one somewhat difficult at first. Krako was the only one really, and also the final boss can be a little bit tricky. But other
Mhm.
than that, I like most of them were just kind of one and done for me.
Yeah,
I,
the level, whatever. 3 boss was also very difficult for me, the Sun and Moon. That one was
oh, that's
messing
a
me
little
up a
tricky. That one can
lot.
be tough.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I guess that was also kind of my issue with the Krakow, is that I was like, okay, love the Wispy Woods, easy. Level 2, I don't even remember what level 2 boss was, but I remember it was harder, but it wasn't too bad. Level 3 was really kicking my ass. Like, I did go through like 10 plus deaths on that and game overed.
yeah.
Um
Level 2 is
and
paint
then
roller,
yeah, paint roller. Oh, yes, I remember that.
paint
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I had some issue. I think I had a game over against that, and then I got it. And then level 4 was crack, and I was just like, these are getting harder and harder and harder, and they are at the point where they are just murdering me. And then when I did do the level 5 boss, I was like, okay, that wasn't that bad. Like,
Hmm.
it wasn't that bad. And I was like, I wonder what's going on with that. I don't know if that's like an actual, like, mistake in the progression, or if it's just, like, all of these bosses are actually just not that hard, and I'm just not that good, so it's hard to gauge a
Yeah.
difficulty for me.
Yeah, well, it's a different. I I think they all require different kinds of skills. Is the
Mm,
thing,
mhm,
and you just have more deficiency in some of those areas than others. Because I think Wispy Woods is just your basic learn how to play, shoot stuff back.
mhm,
We know what this
right,
is. Paint roller kind of similar, but now it's like, okay, well, you have to pay attention to their moving around the screen. You have to figure out where they're going, so it's a little bit more involved.
mhm.
Then the Sun and Moon, that's really about like platforming. By the way, their names are Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright.
Mm, mhm, mhm. I
it's
wonder which
that
one's which.
that's trickier platforming.
Mhm,
Not, I mean, not there's you have to jump and in between gaps to avoid getting hit and all that kind of stuff. Then
yeah.
Krakow is like the puzzle, almost like a puzzle more than a fight if you figure out the puzzle part of it.
Mhm.
Then the one after that is the mole, which is like the screen scrolls. So now
Mhm.
it's testing your ability to sort of multitask and be swallowing and shooting while moving through the
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah, I mean,
So yeah,
I guess what made that one easier is that, like, you barely have to multitask, right? Like, in that one, the way that I would lose with that is that I would try to hit him, and then I would get fucked up. Whereas if I was just like, I'll hit him when the opportunity arises, and if the boss fight takes 20 minutes but I don't die, then you know what? I didn't die. And if I do it that way, then I can get him. It's not too bad.
yeah. I mean, that's a valuable lesson to learn. I feel like
Yeah.
I've said that to you before when fighting bosses. Of
Yeah.
just don't get hit. Like first and foremost,
Yeah.
don't get hit.
Right, right.
You don't need to be taking any risks if you don't
Yeah,
have to.
except sometimes with Mega Man where you're like, "Stop trying not to get hit, just kill him."
That's true. It is game dependent and boss dependent, truly. Yeah,
Mhm.
so there I do think there's more. I don't know. There are some areas, some stages with gaps, pits that you can fall into. But of
I
course you
did
can fly.
I did
Yeah.
fall into pits and die a lot more than you would expect in a Kirby game. Like, maybe
Well,
maybe half a dozen times I died to a pit, which is a lot for a game in which you can just fly.
yeah. Well, you are you're a big fucking doofus.
Yeah, I mean, if you if you give me a pit, I'm going down it.
Yeah, wait till we play Kid Icarus.
Oh boy.
You're going down that pit. Now, the other thing that must have helped you, another big change from the from the Game Boy version, and I think another one of the big signs that they know how to make an NES game now is that this game saves after
Mhm.
every single stage.
Yeah.
That you never have to replay a stage ever if you beat it
Yeah.
once. And not
Yeah.
even Super Mario World did that, right?
Yeah, I
This is
I
an NES game.
had a point in this game where I got to a certain point and I was like, I'm gonna turn the system off, and I was like, how the fuck do I save? None of these buttons save, and I had to go look through the manual because I was like, I swear it said I can save. Oh, it I don't have to. It just did
Just
it
does it.
already. Yeah.
Just does it for you. Yeah.
Was not ready
Yeah.
for an auto save this early.
So I mean, I gotta think like because last time you had to fight Kracko, you had to go through a whole
Yeah.
stage every time first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's I think that would make it a lot nicer for you. You
Yeah,
don't
no,
have to
it
do
is.
that.
I do just think that I still, because of the fact that you got chased up, I had difficulty not taking damage. And also, I think the first time I beat Kracko, like I said, those corners were actually safe zones. Like you could just like run into the corner and dodge all the attacks and then run out when you needed to
Right.
attack
In
him.
the
And this
Game Boy
time
one.
in the Game Boy one, yeah. And in this one that was not the case. And in this one it often looked like the case, and then sometimes it wasn't. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah. Another real big thing about Kirby's Dream Land introduces, I mean, a fan favorite character, Meta Knight. Did
Sure.
you even notice that he was there? Didn't react.
I mean, I guess I looked at them and I was like, I guess those look kind of like Meta Knights, but I don't know. Was
Well, so every once in a while in the game,
Yeah,
you will get to a screen where you have to fight like a wave of enemies in order to
yeah.
progress. And so,
I guess the
that's
main one is Meta Knight, and the other
it,
ones they're all
it's
kind of
well, no, none of the ones you fight are. It's before they come out. Meta Knight is on
right,
screen and has a little animation. Then he leaves, like he's summoning
right.
these bad guys to fight you.
Yeah, that's what I meant by like the main one, like the one that's summoning.
Yeah. You do. He is also.
Yeah.
You do actually fight him. He is the boss of the next level 6.
Okay. I mean,
Um,
honestly, I could probably fit, like, if level 6 is as easy as level 5 and not, level 4, I could probably clear out this game, like, immediately after we record this.
yeah, I think you could probably beat Meta Knight fairly easily. I don't think he's
Mhm.
complicated. But he's cool. He's kind of like the Proto Man, even though we haven't played Mega Man 3 yet. He's kind of like the guy who's that mysterious man in the
Mm.
mask? He's like Tuxedo
Mhm.
Man or whatever from Sailor Moon, you know?
Right, right, yeah.
He-
I
you
do
know?
believe he's called Tuxedo Mask,
Tuxedo
actually.
Mask. Okay.
The man in the mask, yeah. But yeah, no, I guess that is interesting. I guess I did sort of notice that was like a Meta Knight type. I don't know that I noticed that it was specifically Meta Knight, the character. I
It's
mean,
Meta
it's not
Knight.
like it's not
It's
like
him.
last game didn't put like what La 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 and Lo 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 kept coming back to you or whatever
Sure. A couple
over and over
times.
again. So I don't know. I guess I'm used to an anime just showing up a bunch.
Yeah, but this one's Meta Knight.
Yeah, that's true.
He's got a sword. He's
Right.
badass. He's got a mask.
Yeah.
What no one knows what's under the mask.
Hmm.
Actually, if you beat him, you do see what's under the mask. You see it in this game. So everybody knows. But it's Meta Knight. He's cool. D is back. Of course, we didn't talk about the
Mhm.
plot of this game,
Right, right.
which actually is great. And now, I actually don't want to talk about the ending
Mm.
since you didn't finish it because it actually is kind of a fun
Mm.
thing that happens in the end with the story of this game, which is that everyone in
Interesting.
Dreamland is having nightmares
Right.
instead of good dreams. And Kirby goes and finds Dedede, and he's splashing around having a good time and says, I destroyed the Star Rod that gives everyone good dreams. I broke it up into 7 pieces and gave them to my friends. And so that's why every level Kirby has to, these are all DDD's friends
Mhm.
that you have to get the Star Rod pieces back from.
Right, right. Yeah, DDD is bathing in the dream fountain. That's what you mean by splashing around. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
can may I read you a section from the
Please.
manual here?
Yeah, I'd
I
love
think
that.
I read this to you when I first saw it because I loved
Mm.
it so
Yeah,
much.
do it
But
again.
here it is. Uh, so you're up to your old tricks again, eh, DDD? Accused Kirby. What are you talking about, young Pudgeball? DDD looked surprised. I thought I'd do everyone a favor by. No, 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 Kirby shook his head. I won't listen to your tricks. What have you done with the Star Rod? Oh, that old thing? DDD said nonchalantly. I broke it into 7 pieces and gave each piece to one of my friends. What was DDD thinking? Kirby wondered.
It is. I really, really do love this little intro. I wish this was in the game
Mm-hmm.
because I think DDD is such a fun contrast to Ganon and Bowser in
Mm-hmm.
that already in game 1, I don't even remember. Why are you fighting him in game 1? Just because he's a dick? Like, is he
Yeah, I
trying to
don't
take
remember.
over
You
the
fight him in a
kingdom?
boxing match,
Yeah,
like in a
right.
ring. I remember that.
I don't remember the actual plot of Dreamland. I think oh, he like steals all the stars or all the food or something. He does something bad and you have to get it all back from him. But I love that here already in game 2, he's just a nuisance. He's just like a
Yeah,
guy who hangs around. He's not in jail or anything.
yeah,
He's not hiding in a lair. He's just like hanging around doing
yeah.
mischief.
He was messing around. He saw the dream fountain. He was like, "Wee, that would be fun to splash around in, like a kiddie pool." Oh, what's this wand? Whoops, I broke it. Well, all my friends can have the pieces. And Kirby's like, "Ah, DDD,
Yeah. Yeah.
what are you getting yourself into this time? Oh my gosh."
And I'll just say this. By the end of the game, DDD might be, maybe he's more of an ally than a villain in
Hmm.
this one.
Well, maybe I'll clear it out then.
Things could take a turn. I would be curious to hear what you think of the final boss. I do think it is a little trickier, and it
Mm.
also sets the tradition in motion of Kirby games having bosses that are unfathomable monsters from another dimension. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I do remember
Uh,
the DDD fight being a pain in the ass for me last
yes,
time.
yes. Well, you'll be glad to know in this game it's basically the same. So if you
So
remember
I
how to
know how
do
to
it,
do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you should be able to do it again.
Hmm.
But there's more stuff that happens. But that's a lot of fun. I like all the aesthetics and all the little things. I like Meta Knight. I like D to D. There are a lot of enemies the variety is still there, even though a lot of them we've seen similar ones in the Game Boy version, but now they have powers and stuff like that, so that's more fun. We already talked about the mini games a little bit that you said you liked. So there's like, which one was your favorite? There's the egg game, the shootout, the Western game, and the
Hmm.
crane game. Which, by the way, when you
um.
finish the game, when you beat it, you can from the menu you can play those standalone, and they have different difficulty levels.
Yeah, I mean that was something I was wondering. I was like, I feel like these would be better if I could just play them over and over again mindlessly to get like the hang of them and not like once per every time I go through the level or something. I mean, I did
Yeah,
like that I could try them again if I died, and I got a game over, and I could potentially get a one up if I was good enough.
yeah,
Um,
that is
yeah.
another. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I don't know. I think I like the big curb plush in the crane game, but I think that actually playing the crane game is probably like it's not that interesting. It's like, all right, sure, there's a curb, whatever. I'm gonna try to get him. Um, Mechanically, the egg one is probably the most interesting. But like I never really managed to complete it. Like I generally found that like if I didn't try to perfect it, I could do pretty good, but I wasn't gonna get the one up. But if I did try to perfect it, I would do way worse. Because I'd just be like, there's always like one egg that's just like, just don't get that, and then it's not too bad. Um,
Yeah.
the shootout was interesting to me. I was very curious how easy it was for you because every time I played it, I was like, I feel like I'm showcasing how terrible my reaction time is with this game.
Well, I don't know how well you did, but I I mean, I didn't try again after the fact. I just played them when they came up. But
Mhm.
of the like whatever 3 or 4 times that I did it during the game, I found it impossible to outshoot the third guy. I would
Okay.
always get the first two. The third guy I could not do.
Okay, because I could. I mean, I played it a couple more times because there were. I think in level 4 with the Krakow, there is just one that's there. So every time I game over and restart, I can go and try to get another one up for the fight from
Every
that.
time. Yeah, go
Every
ahead.
time, every time. Um, so I did find that I could consistently outshoot the first three. And the fourth
Wow.
one I could occasionally outshoot by the end. And
Wow.
one time I got DDD, but I'm pretty sure that I jumped the gun and shot early and just got lucky. Eh,
I'm impressed. I honestly wondered like do I have input lag or something? I was like no matter what
mm,
I just couldn't hit the button fast enough. Again, I didn't try it a dozen times like it
yeah,
sounds like maybe you did,
right,
but
right.
still I that seems impressive to me.
All right, well that's good because I did feel like I felt like oh I'm probably doing really bad and John is probably getting at least a 4 every time here.
Now, what
Um,
about the at the end of the each level when you try to see how high you can jump through the clouds and get the one up at the top?
Yeah, I mean, that one took me a while because the first several times I tried it, I wasn't like ready for it. And so it was like already too late by the time I realized what I was supposed to be doing. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, oops." But I did by the at a certain point I started being ready for it and I did get up to the one once or twice. And got
Yeah.
the one up once or twice.
I mean, that's definitely the source of a lot of my one ups was doing
Mhm.
that. After a while I would always be able to get like 1 through 3, but it is tricky. The timing of it is a
Mhm.
little you have to really get it like when I think when it hits the lowest point, but I don't always hit it correct.
Yeah, I mean, that is also the issue is that it comes so inconsistently and, you know, it's you don't necessarily like you aren't necessarily ready for it because I don't know there probably is a difference in the door you go through to end the
It's
level, but
got
I'm just
stars
like
outside of it. It's
I
got all the
guess that's
stars.
true. There is that. I don't know. I was
Yeah.
just like never prepared when it happened.
It's
You are
always the
right.
door
It
with
does have
stars around
stars.
it.
It is the door with stars, but I was just never ready for it. But like, I'm never ready for it. It's not that common. I don't quite know what the timing is. So, you know, it took a while to kind of have some sense of what to do, but I did get it a couple times.
The timing thing I had the most trouble with was there's some levels, this is a thing in other Kirby games too, where there's a cannon you fire out of, and
Hmm.
if you have the fire power up, you can light the I don't what the fuse and then get in the cannon, it'll shoot you somewhere. There was one of these cannons, I don't remember which level it was in, that I don't know if I was needed a different power up or what, but I tried it like 20, 30 times and I could never get fast enough to the cannon and I gave up on it.
Mm.
But then I completed the level and it said I completed everything in it. So I guess it was completely optional, but I was kind of getting pissed at that. And that's the other thing. This game does have secrets in some of the levels. Is that
Hmm.
something you ever happened upon or were even aware of?
I'm not sure what counts as a secret.
Well, did you read where the manual says the door will turn white if you've got everything in the level?
Oh, interesting. I didn't really look at that, to be honest. I was more interested in just like, can I get through this whole thing than in trying to complete all of that.
Well,
But I
it
did notice
sounds
that there was a
yeah.
yeah, or I was gonna say I did notice that my save file had percentage completion on it, which I thought was fun.
Did you ever find a switch inside any of the levels? A big button?
I did twice, and one time I could get to it, and the other time I could not get to it.
Okay, so those are the secrets. Those are the things.
Okay.
Some levels have those, and if you find it, the door turns white. If there isn't one in the level, it just turns white anyway because there's nothing secret
Mhm.
in there. But I like so when I beat the game, my percentage was 79%, I think. And
Mhm.
then this was like early in the week, by the way, for reference, it took me total, I want to say between 3-ish, 4-ish hours to clear the game. So I mean, hey, 3 times as long as the Game Boy game. And today I was like, I want to play a little bit. Let me go back and try to get some of the percentage stuff. And within like very little time, I had gone from 79% to like 90%. I was like, if I just played straight through, I probably could 100% of this game before we recorded today. But I like that. I like that the 100%. The secrets, some of them are a little bit tricky. There's even one where you do need to actually bring a power up from outside of the level into it, which was not clear to me. But they're not too tricky. It's not like that hard to get 100%, and I like that. For a Kirby game, I think that's good that there's enough secrets to discover, but you're not going to kill yourself trying to do everything. You could still beat the whole game 100% in probably like 4 hours, 5 hours max.
Yeah, I mean, I like that that is an option. I think that that's the sort of thing that would make the game like nice and replayable after you've beaten it once. I'm not. I don't know. I have my issues with Mario Secrets, but I think a lot of my issues with Mario Secrets did come down to like I never ever feel safe enough to explore in a Mario game, right? I always feel like I'm on the verge of death. But if I'm not in a boss fight in a Kirby game, I do feel relatively safe. It's very rare in a Kirby game that I feel like I could die at any moment. So, like, I could see that being a thing, if I'm a kid and I have this game and I don't have all these other games to play, to be like, yeah, I beat it, but like, look, all these levels aren't complete. I should go and explore them, and it's more inviting for that sort of thing, specifically because there's not that much difficulty.
Yeah, and most of them are just keep your eyes open. Hey, look, there was a door there you didn't see. It's not that.
Right.
It's not
Yeah, I
rocket
mean, like,
science.
I was not being very rigorous about like, I knew as I was going through, I was like, it's fully possible I'm missing doors here, but I'll either make it through or I won't. If I don't, I'll go back and check to see if there were doors I missed. Like, I wasn't trying to make sure I hit every single thing in the level as I did it. So
Yeah.
that, I mean, plenty of room to do that.
And once again, if you do 100% it, you unlock a hard mode where you just have half as much life, which is, I was like, well, that doesn't, like, I did
Mm,
that. I played through the hard mode in the Game Boy version just because it was so short that I just wanted to see what it was like. But in
mhm.
this one, I was like, I don't really have an interest in, like, that's not that. It's not like the
Is that?
enemies are harder. You just have less life.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that what happened in the Game Boy? Because I feel like in the Game Boy they had harder and more enemies.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just meant you unlock a harder mode is what happens in both of them.
Ah,
But
I see. Okay.
I thought you did have less health too.
You
But
might.
yes,
That
the
might be the
enemies are
case. Yeah.
definitely more aggressive in that one. I don't think from what I read, it doesn't sound like they change in this version, which is like
Yeah. I
whatever.
mean, I just remember that in the first version, even on my first attempt in Wispy Woods, it wasn't too bad. And then after beating the entire game and kind of getting the hang of the controls, I came back and I was getting torn apart. And I was like, it must be way harder. Like, it can't just be. Because if it was just half health, I'd probably go through and not really take many hits. So it must be pretty bad. But
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, my friend, we've had an adventure today.
mm-hmm.
Now I think I'd like to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
Your perspective on this game, your final thoughts, and your IGN rating for Kirby's Adventure.
Yes, final thoughts and IGN rating for Kirby's Adventure. So, I mean, I do think that the obvious point of comparison to this is Kirby's Dream Land, which I gave an 8. Um, eh, so much of this game is just kind of the same thing again, right? It's more of the Kirby formula. There's a lot of cute little guys. They're a lot of fun. Some of them are new, a bunch of them are not. Um, relatively easy levels. Some of the bosses are new, some of them are not. But a lot of the play in here feels pretty similar to the first one. So I don't know that I'm going to be giving it like I don't want to like give it a much higher score. And in fact, I don't want to give it too much credit for that since it's something I've already seen. It's not novel to me anymore. Um, that being said, I do like that there's more variety in terms of the power-ups. It could have been better, but that is still fun. I think the mini games are relatively fun. Even just bouncing Kirby at the end of each level, that is a lot of fun, and those they also give you like potential to showcase things like, okay, Kirby has a big wide open mouth when he's eating the eggs. Kirby's got a cowboy hat during the shootouts. That's great. I love that. I like Kirby scrambling up over the clouds on the bouncy thing. Um, so it does have a lot of new fun things, and I think that the secrets thing is a pretty big improvement. Like even though it's not a thing that I ever would have quite engaged with, because I'm doing it for a podcast. If this was a game I owned, I think that's something that I would really like about it. Like something that is paying me off for just going back and playing levels for fun. So on the whole, I do think this is an upgrade from Kirby's Dream Land, but not like an incredible one. So I think that I'm going to give Kirby's Adventure, let's say an 8.2 out of 10.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty damn good. As much as I'd love to, be mad at you and fight with you, this week I pretty much agree with you. I think almost across the board. I do think this is no question a straight upgrade over Dreamland. Graphically, it just is more obviously there's colors. There's more than one color, so it's more colorful. You have more space to spread around, and I just think it's generally a more welcoming, inviting game, even though the original one was also designed to welcome in new gamers. I think this one does it better. I think the power-ups obviously are a big improvement. Having that as Kirby's arsenal now does kind of make it feel like, okay, the Kirby mechanics are complete. We've locked it in. This is Kirby now. This is what Kirby does. I think generally speaking, the levels are better. I think the worlds feel just a little bit more cohesive. Like they actually have some things going on. For instance, there's the butter building where, it feels like I'm traveling up a big tower. And sometimes I'm spinning around the side of it to get to the door or whatever, as opposed to a lot of the Game Boy ones are just kind of, I don't know, there's some stuff here. There's a thing there. Are you in a castle? I guess maybe. I feel like there's a little better theming there. And the bosses to me are maybe the biggest upgrade over Dreamland. I think the bosses have more variety and are more fun to fight than in the original. So definitely a big step up. But yeah, like you said, it is, coming back to this as a big Kirby fan, but not having ever quite played this one, there is sort of a feeling of, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that's Kirby. All right. It's doing the Kirby things, but it's not really wowing me in any way. And like you said, it's not the first Kirby game, so you can't give it as much credit for that. So I think I'm going to fall right in line behind you. I gave the original Kirby's Dream Land a 7.9, and I'm going to give this one an 8.1.
Okay.
So our ratio is consistent.
Yeah, or our upgrade.
Whatever that means.
The ratio is slightly off, but
whatever. Doesn't matter. I don't know words. But yeah, I'm like, it's good. It's Kirby. There's nothing wrong with this game. I'm having a really good time playing it, but it's not making me jump up and down and grin and clap my hands like a trained seal, which is what I usually do when I play Kirby games.
Right.
And I wonder I'd be curious to hear how other people feel about this one, because definitely I think a lot of people do consider this one of, if not the best NES game. And I think that's like almost a different metric if you're just comparing it to what's on the NES versus comparing it to all Kirby games, which is really what I'm doing. But it is true that compared to a lot of NES games, it feels very full. It has a lot of features. It has hidden secrets. It feels very close to a Super Nintendo game. It's not like, I think that's maybe a reason it did well in 1993 is I don't look at this and think, oh, this looks so outdated and gross. It plays pretty well. There is some slowdown, like you said, which can be pretty bad sometimes. But for the most part, it's like, wow, they really did. There's mini games. They got the juice out of this thing by 1993. They knew what they were doing with it. So on that level, it's impressive. Let's see what the old folks thought about this game back in 1993. Just a couple of retro reviews to read through in Retro Review Corner this week. Both from British publications. For some reason, I found it hard to find archives of a lot of Kirby's adventure reviews online. Don't know why. But I've got a couple. Here is one from Computer and Video Games magazine. And they say that Kirby is an unmissable game. Quote, my only criticism is that the main sprite is too small and as such tends to get lost during the more hectic levels. So I thought that was kind of interesting because I don't really think I never found that to be true, but
Yeah, it's interesting. I wouldn't agree with it gets lost because I'll tell you, if there's anybody who's going to lose their sprite, it would be me, and I never had that problem. But I can see the idea of like there's so much shit going on, and mostly I just want to appreciate the aesthetic, and it's hard for me to give Kirby himself the appreciation he deserves when there's all this other shit that's going on that's the same size as him. I don't know if that's a problem for me because I like all of the other things, and I want to, I wish I knew what any of these things were called, but
yeah. I mean, I have the wiki open. Does it have all
Mhm.
the enemies? It has all the
It must.
it has all the oh yeah, here they are. There's the fish are blippers, the round things with wings. Oh yeah, Bronto Burt. We've seen Bronto Burt.
Oh yeah, which one's Bronto Burt?
He's just a round guy with wings that flies. He doesn't like
Okay.
do anything. He just comes at you.
Okay.
The broom guys are broom hatters.
Mm-hmm.
The mushrooms are Cappy. We know. I think most of these
Right.
guys were in the Game Boy one. Like Gordo is the spiky guy.
Right.
Poppy,
Yeah. No,
we know
most of
Poppy
them were not
Bros.
new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scarfy, we know Scarfy. Waddle Dee, of course. Some of the like mini bosses are maybe cooler. Like Bonkers. Bonkers is the monkey with the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Fire Lion. He's the lion with fire.
Yeah. I like
Mr.
Bonkers.
Frosty.
I was a big fan of Bonkers power. I liked when I could have a Bonkers power.
The hammer was really
Mr.
good.
Frosty,
Yeah.
huh? Yeah.
Hey, we also didn't talk about the other cool power in this game is there's some guys who give you wrestling moves.
Oh yeah.
And you start to inhale, but then Kirby grabs them and does like a body slam. I didn't think that this power was actually useful. Like it's not any better than just sucking them up. It's maybe even worse, but it's just very funny to see it.
Yeah.
So
It is funny to see it. I did prefer to have a hammer or is it the alarm clock guy who gives you a microphone?
yeah. Somebody, Mr. TikTok is his name.
Mr.
Yes.
TikTok. Okay. I was going to say maybe like Bellhead, but Mr. TikTok works too.
Good guess. Okay. Anyway, back to this review here. They also say that, this game is so massive that it comes with a battery save feature. So remember, that was not even common on the NES. So that was also a big deal for them.
Mhm.
What I think is partially what's so funny about this review is that on the same page, just only is the top half of the page, right underneath it is a review of Mega Man 4, which also came out this year. Remember, we've only played 1 and 2.
Right.
And at the end of their Mega Man 4 review, they say, there have been better platform shoot-'em-ups, although few are as varied as Mega Man 4. Kirby's is the better game. But if you have this cash to spare, then this is a good second purchase. I just thought it was
Damn.
funny that, like, I think just because so few NES games were still coming out, that they were like, well, these are the 2 NES games this year, so they are actually in direct competition, even though they don't actually have anything in common with each other. Because who would ever be like, which should I
Mhm.
buy first, Kirby's Adventure or Mega Man 4? It just doesn't seem
Right.
like those things. But they were like, no, Kirby's the one. Kirby's the one. The other review I have here comes from Nintendo Magazine System. So this is
Okay.
not Nintendo Power. This is an unlicensed magazine, a Nintendo Magazine System. And these people, I gotta read these comments because this one guy fucking loved this game. This is the review from Paul, who says, once again, I am ecstatic to report that Kirby's latest venture is absolutely incredible. He's brilliant. He's amazing. He's the best platform hero ever. He is. There's nothing he cannot do, and this is proved by his casual use of 16, count 'em, different abilities, with over 40 lands from 8 worlds. This latest adventure may not have the same amount of depth as Super Mario Bros. 3, but the overall presentation and feel is far superior. Suddenly, Kirby opens the window on the stifling NES market, lets a breath of fresh air rush in, and makes everything exciting again. It is an easy game when compared to something like the Castlevania series, but then Kirby's Adventure is infinitely more fun to play. Shigeru Miyamoto is certainly guaranteeing his next massive fortune with Little Kirby, and I can account for at least a small part of it already, as the copy used in this review now belongs to me. Seek out a Kirby of your own as soon as possible.
It now belongs to me.
This guy fucking went. I mean, listen, this is a good game, but good, far superior to Super Mario Brothers 3. I'm like, holy shit, this guy is like, this is shocking to me how much he loves Kirby. I thought I liked Kirby, and now I'm like, damn, I'm nothing. This guy is the true fan. Now they have another reviewer who kind of has like his own take on it. And he says, this is from, it says his name is Rad. I don't know if that's a real name. He says, while unlike Paul, I'm not about to start bowing down before Kirby effigies. It must be said that he's probably the best video game character ever designed. After months of seeing nothing but one platform clone after another, it's refreshing to play something this original. The game is incredibly well presented, and most importantly, one of the most enjoyable going. However, whilst Kirby may be more playable than Mario 3, which it is, the big downfall is the difficulty setting, and he basically just says it's too easy. But even he says it's better than Mario 3. Feels like sacrilege to me. It seems crazy for them to be saying this.
I said it was better than Mario 3.
Right, but you're an idiot. You're one of the dumbest men alive. These are professional game reviewers with taste. Also, on the side of this, there's a little note about the game's origin, and it says, Kirby is the creation of Shigeru Miyamoto, the man responsible for Nintendo classics like Zelda and even Starwing. Not true. As we've said, Sakurai created Kirby. This is just wrong information that they printed in their magazine. And probably for years, kids read this and just thought that was true. Miyamoto got credit
at the time. Nobody knew.
But like, why did they? Who told them that? Like, did they just see his name somewhere in the credits and go, "He must have
made it up"? They were like, "I know that guy. It's a Nintendo game, right?"
Anyway, they gave it a 93. Listen, if someone wants to say Kirby is the best video game character ever designed, maybe that's true. Maybe I agree. Maybe I agree with that. Well, that's it for Retro Review Corner, which means that wraps up our discussion of Kirby's Adventure this week.
Kirby.
Now, well, part of the reason I wanted to do Kirby this week is because we were talking about it as a potential training ground for you for platformers. And I thought maybe this would kickstart you getting back into the platformer mode. And then beyond that, we have been talking about for a long time launching in a big way our Twitch streaming network. You know what I mean? Specifically, you wanted to just plow through the Mario games. By plow through, I mean, I mean, they would plow against you. But
Right.
that's sort of your goal. And
Yes.
so we're announcing it now. This is, this is tentative and things may change over time. But right now, what our plan is to have you start streaming Mario games Saturday afternoons on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/badwithgames podcast.
Yes, yes, this is our plan. This is my Mario boot camp that I will attempt to do, and I have some ideas on how to train on it. But the hope here is that this will give me a way to actually be able to do platformers, which could be good for me, maybe.
That's right. And at some point, and who knows, maybe even soon, maybe it's not just Mario games. We may
Right.
do an extra day of the week. Sometimes I may join, sometimes I may not. But like this is also a way for maybe, I don't know, maybe on stream, maybe you do go back to play Kirby. Maybe that's your warm up before Mario. Maybe, like you said, you want to go back to play more Zelda. It could just be, or it could be maybe we start playing some games for the following week that we're playing on the show. But we're going to try to do a consistent schedule. But our first real project is you trying
Yeah.
to beat all the Mario games.
Yeah, I mean, my first project is we got to take one project at a time. My first project, I think I want it to be, I want to get good enough at the original Super Mario Brothers to beat it from start to finish in one sitting. That's my goal.
That's
And however long that takes,
insane.
that's how long it takes.
I
Well, that's
can't
why
even
it's a
do that.
project.
Well, with warps or without warps?
I mean, I don't know. We'll see what seems reasonable. I'll start off with thinking about warps, but we'll see how I feel about it. Um,
Yeah, I would start with
but
warps.
but here, I mean, the thing about me is that if I'm saying this is a project, I'm fully ready for it to take a long time. It also does not have to be the only thing that we do, right? The
Sure.
the project is to beat it, and in between projecting that, there might be other things that could be done too. But if it takes
Yes.
if it takes 6 months, if it takes a year, if it takes 2 years, that's how long it takes. That's the first project.
I mean, my optimistic hope is that if we're doing this weekly,
Mhm.
you specifically,
Mhm.
that this boot camp hopefully can prepare you for next season. We will play Donkey Kong Country. We will play maybe more more platformers for sure,
Mhm.
and that you'll have achieved at least a level of competence to going into those that will make those a smoother experience for you. I'm hoping that
Yeah.
we have, by starting now,
Mhm.
you have enough leeway to get that head start before next
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, I mean, that is a hopeful thing, but I don't know how to quantify that. Whereas
Yeah,
as far as this, I can say, like, I have a long-term goal, and if I have a long-term goal for this project, I can break that up into short-term goals, right? I want to do this stage all the way through. I want to do this stage all the way through. I want to be able to do this stage all the way through 5 times without losing. Okay, and then eventually I can start chaining them together. Like, I know how to build that up, and in the process of doing that, hopefully we'll get there. But I don't know how to say, like, get good enough to do Donkey Kong Country. What the hell does that mean? Right. So, but it should
yeah.
happen naturally in the process.
Also, for all I know, you'll think Donkey Kong Country is easier than every other game. Like I have,
Yeah,
that
it's
absolutely
true.
is a possibility, hundred
It
percent.
is. It is. I have certain blind spots, and that sometimes it just happens.
Yeah, you make no sense. You're from another planet. And also, this is not to say that we won't be doing any more platformers this season because there is at least one more, one and a
Mhm.
half maybe. As we only have, by the way, like 5 weeks left of this season. So not that means anything, but to me, it's exciting. To me, it means something. All right, so check that out. Subscribe if you haven't already, twitch.tv/badwithgames podcast, and follow us on Bluesky at Bad With Games, where I'm sure we'll be also posting some alerts once we start doing it, blah, blah, blah. It should be fun if you want to join us over there. Okay, last week, we played Myst. Well, I played Myst.
Mm.
You sort of looked at Myst.
I mean, I wandered around Myst looking at it for a while. I attempted to
Right,
play it.
right. And it was, yeah, it was not a good showing for the show. Well, maybe for the show it was good. It wasn't a
Yeah, maybe
great
it was.
showing for you.
Right. I'm assuming that I'm probably in a lot of trouble. That's my
Well, lucky
assumption for this episode.
lucky for you, I mean, our show doesn't have a huge following yet. So we're still building our fan base up. We're kind of,
Mhm.
it's still a new show.
And
So
I mean, in some
that
ways, that makes it worse, though, because if we had a huge showing, then
right,
it's very funny to just be like, look at all these randos who got mad at me. But
right,
unfortunately, because we're such a small show,
right.
basically anyone who writes in is going to be someone that I'm like, oh, I know that person because they wrote in before. So it's going to sting more to have
Mm.
disappointed them and let them down.
Right. Well, then maybe this will actually make you feel better because that was actually a lead up to me saying that for some reason our missed episode on YouTube became our most watched episode to date, more than doubling the views of the next
God
highest
damn.
video that we've ever uploaded.
I mean, you know what? This is how the algorithm works, right? Like it's rage bait, right? Like
Yeah.
if you say, "Oh yeah, it's so good, everything's great," that's boring. That sucks. But if people get fucking pissed, they start typing in the comments,
Mhm.
right? Oh, we gotta
Yeah.
show everybody
Yeah.
that.
Where was the rage for Mario Brothers 3 is my question,
I
you know?
know. Come
But
on, I'm trying so hard to fuck it up.
so we got a whole bunch of comments from folks on the missed episode, as well as a couple of emails and comments in other places,
Oh boy.
which I will probably not read all of them, but I'll probably read a lot of them and give you
Hmm.
the gist of them.
It'll be
Now,
cathartic for you.
I mean, brace yourself for this because I will say, not everyone was unsympathetic to you. There are some people who maybe they're not on your side, but like I said, they're sympathetic. And there's even maybe one person who actually is more, who blames me more than you.
Hmm. Interesting.
So there's some variety in these comments.
Yeah. Well, we might have new listeners for that, so I will preempt any blaming of John before we start here. I don't know what you're blaming him for, and it might be his fault, but I will preempt to say I will fully admit it is impossible to predict what I will and will not have trouble with before a game starts. It is very difficult for John to know like what he needs to do to make sure that I'm going to do okay. Because sometimes
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like something very obvious and simple, and sometimes he tells me like five things, and I'm like, "Why? You didn't need to tell me any of that." Right? That's just
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. You're, like I said, you're from another planet. Well, before I read any of these, I do want to ask you. It's been a week. How did you after our
Mhm.
conversation? Was there any kind of reflection? Did you do any more thinking about Mist at all that is worth saying on the show?
So, I mean, not necessarily like post conversation reflection exactly, but I do think that I mean, here's the thing, right? When I go into a game, I don't really know what it's going to end up being. Like I know that Myst is this famous game. Um and I know that it's kind of beloved,
I
but
like
I
both.
also know that it's relatively niche, right? A relatively obscure. Like people have heard of it, but it's mostly beloved by very specific types of gamers, right? A lot of people who have heard of it haven't necessarily played it that much. And so I go into this and what I do know about Myst is that I'm hoping to like it, right? I think I said this on the episode. I really wanted to like Myst. But I don't like for all I know, I'm going to cuz this happens with games sometimes. I'm going to go into this game and it's going to be like yeah, a certain type of person loves this, but like a certain type of person loved Wizardry, right? And that game sucked. And maybe it's just bad and those people are weirdos, right? Or like, maybe you're going to say, like, because I don't know if you've played it before either, or like you love it or not. So, like, maybe you're gonna say, I was excited to play this, but I also found it to be just annoying and it wasn't that good. And it didn't really live up to the hype. I kind of figured you were gonna have done better, but like I didn't know going in. Am I going to hate this and John will really like it? Am I going to hate this and John will be like, yeah, no, it turns out it wasn't that good. I didn't know, right? But it is so I don't feel that bad necessarily going into the episode knowing that I hated it. Um, even though I wanted to love it because maybe it just wasn't that good. But actually recording the episode, it's like, okay, I wanted to love this game. I ended up having a bad time. But to Jonathan, this game turned out to be everything that I had wanted it to be. So it's not necessarily the game's fault. It's something about the way that I engage with it. And that did make me feel a lot worse about the experience. Like I did feel bad about it because of this.
Because now you feel like maybe you're missing out on a feeling that I had and you didn't.
Yeah, to some degree. Like I'm missing yeah, like it doesn't make me like if I'm going in saying I really hope I love this game and then I don't really feel that bad because maybe it just wasn't good. But like if it was possible to have loved it to the degree that I wanted to. Cuz like you didn't even just give it a like a 7, right? You gave it like a 9.6 or something. You loved this game.
Right.
Uh
Yeah.
so like yeah, it's like, "Oh, I there was a way to have that feeling and it just wasn't like, was it entirely my fault or is it just something I can't access or I don't know? I don't know. It feels worse.
I get it. And it's maybe also different from it's harder to quantify in some ways than a platformer where it's very clear, oh, well, I don't like this because
Hmm.
I'm just struggling with it and it's not fun for me because it's frustrating. Whereas here maybe it's a little bit more mystifying that it's like, well,
Hmm.
why didn't like I should be capable of loving this. This should be a game that I like. I like adventure games. I like puzzles. Why don't I
Hmm.
like this? Maybe that's more frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, another thing that I was thinking about post Mist is also potentially the difference in why, like, what it is that we enjoy about games. I do think that there is some degree to which you can suspend disbelief for a game better than I can. So, like, if you're in Mist and you're really struggling with it, and then you figure it out, or like you're really struggling with it, you're like, I want to understand how this thing works. And then when you figure it out, you're like, cool, I have now understood it. And for me, it's very different to run into a problem like that in real life than it is in a game because in a game, it's very hard for me to run up into a wall like that and not think, like, instead of thinking, I have found this thing I don't understand, in my head, like, it's just like, okay, somebody made this for me to figure it out and I can't do it. It's not like a thing that just independently exists that I'm engaging with. It's a puzzle that somebody made like they are challenging me and I am trying to fulfill that challenge. It's hard for me to just exist. Like it takes a lot. It takes like a Zelda to get me to just inhabit the world and be all like, that's just the way the world works. I have to figure it out.
Yeah. Where to me, Myst is the
Yeah.
maybe like the best example of a world we've played in that sense. But it obviously did not click with you. Well, let's take a look at some of these comments here on YouTube. Eric Simonetti said, "Hurt my soul to hear he never even realized you could read the books. It was also strange to hear that he landed on that secret passage as the first thing to do. I didn't end up finding that or the piece of paper referring to the switches, funny enough, until I had already completed all of the ages and finished the game."
Yeah, I mean, listen, that one I was thinking it might be the first thing to do because it's the only thing with an explicit piece of paper telling me it, but I really did settle on that because I looked at like multiple walkthroughs and the first thing they said was to do that. Probably because it was very easy and required no anything else,
Yeah.
but I didn't know.
In fairness, I mean that I don't know. That piece of paper is pretty obvious. So actually, it's almost more surprising to me that someone could miss that. But yeah, you don't need it. Now, someone else named whose name is Alf Rules 1 with a Z.
Damn, that's a good name.
I know. His
shit.
avatar is Alf, and it's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
He said the tower rotation thing was meant to be conveyed to the player by the message in the water. Atris tells you to remember the tower rotation then, so you know it has something to do with that, which I didn't even remember and didn't bring up. But I think that's true.
That probably is true. I was probably a little bit over it by the time I saw that.
Yeah. So in a sense, that actually does work as your introductory thing if you find that first. And you don't even need to press a button for that. Oh, no, you do. Sorry. You do need to still press the button to put in the number of markers. All right. Anyway, we'll continue. Here's somebody on your side, Princess Pearl Mermaid. I don't know if you'll want them on your side, though. They said, Will is correct in all of his opinions. Mist is no fun. Also, my family got stuck on that exact same button back in the day. We didn't see it until we upgraded our monitor. So this to me feels like, well, but you're playing on a modern monitor, so you don't have that excuse.
Yeah, but I do have bad vision, so maybe. Now, I will say, any comment that starts off with "Will is correct in every single thing he says," I get the same sort of ick from that I get from like ChatGPT responses. I like to fight. Like, I'd rather somebody say like, "Okay, you've got a point with that one, but you're still basically wrong." I don't know. When people come in and they say like, "Oh yeah, you're just right about everything," I just pull like, I'm like, "What the fuck? Why aren't you yelling? I want to fight."
I have talked to you enough times that when I'm reading comments defending you, I can already hear you in my head telling these people why they're wrong about you being right.
Right.
Like, I know exactly that is going to be your take.
Yeah, so that's why you picked that one specifically.
You go from, on the episode, no, you're an idiot, I'm right about everything. But if someone goes, well, actually, you are right, you're like, well, no, I'm not. Come on.
Right.
Not right.
Come on. I only said that because I was trying to I wanted you to push back.
Right. Here's one from Hot Dog Cleavage. Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Wrote, being unable to see or find little buttons and doorways is definitely the biggest problem in the original game. Go ahead and play the 2020 remake. It's mostly the same, except it's no longer point and click, which solves 99% of those problems. You can crank the knobs and see the clock at the same time, even. We'll get back to this. Hold that thought on that one.
Okay.
For just a minute. I'm reading these in chronological order, and I didn't organize them. Let's see here. Thunderball 44 said, I think the algorithm showed me this just so I too could have my heart rate put over medically safe limits. That said, I don't think he's entirely wrong about the search failures and navigation failures being a bit of a black mark. It's partly an artifact of the technological limitations, but the pixel hunting continues in Riven, and the navigation issues I remember being a problem even into a couple of places in Myst 3. And another one from Wuffy87
I did not know there was a Myst 3. I just want to get that out there.
I mean, there's like 5 or 6 Myst games. I don't know if they're...
But like,
I don't think...
They're not remakes. It's like actual sequels that aren't...
Oh, yeah.
Okay. There are more
that take place in this world. I don't know if they're actually called Myst 3. Some of them change the names and they're more in the world as opposed to direct sequels. But yes, there are several games in this continuity. Anyway, Wuffy87 says, I love hearing the rage and also agree about the puzzles. Myst is heavy with intrigue and the puzzles can be clever. I solved a number of them in the pre-internet era as a child. It's also very true that the game isn't fun in some places. Puzzles can be obtuse instead of clever, and it reduces you down to hitting every pixel on screen at times. I feel like I know what I'm supposed to do. I read the books and have a rough idea. What I can't do is figure out which bright spot is the magic one that will let me progress. So another one, again, sympathetic to your viewpoint. A Crazy Cardboard said it's like Mario 64, but you never jump in a painting. which I thought was a funny, apt comparison to your experience with Myst.
Yes, that's almost exactly correct. I never. Yeah, I. You know what? You know what? I could, if I didn't know anything about Mario 64 at all, I could totally see myself being like, I didn't understand how to play this game. I just ran around the castle. How was I supposed to know you could jump in a painting? That's crazy.
Oh my god, you probably would.
Probably would.
Although I will say this, to be honest, I think you'd have a lot more fun if you never left the castle in Mario 64 than never leaving the island in Myst.
Okay.
There actually is stuff to do there, and it's fun to jump around as Mario. Avatar Protocol commented, I never played Myst, and it doesn't quite appeal enough for me to pick it up. I think it's probably aged poorly. But I've played Blue Prince and have been utterly hooked by it. I wonder if the issues Will had here would apply to Blue Prince as well. It's really hard to tell, but I think Jonathan's on the money in saying these aren't games that can really be fully appreciated in a week. Maybe a lot of games are like that. There are many times I found a game too hard and had to take a day or 3 long break before I could drum up the courage to try again, and usually succeed later when I was able to figure something out or find my muscle memory working magic. I know in Blue Prince, the game doesn't really force you to solve any tricky puzzles at the beginning. I went into that game not wanting to write down anything ever, and later on, the game made me want to start making notes organically. If Myst worked like that, maybe the thought process in dealing with the moment-to-moment puzzles would have been easier to swallow. That was ultimately his entire problem with this game. If that can be ignored and remembered later, it's more like the red herring example which he liked in Monkey Island.
Yeah.
You haven't played Blue Prince?
I have not, so I don't know. But I will say I was fully expecting to take notes with Myst. Like I was ready to take notes with Myst. I just didn't really have anything that I could notate.
One thing it is true that is very smart about Blue Prince is that there's kind of a meta game to it where you're progressing through this mansion, and when you go to a new room, you actually draft tiles like a board game as to what that room will be. And so it actually is, and you only have like a certain number of tiles you can draft each day before you have to start the mansion over. So it almost is like you can start playing it and be absorbed by that aspect of the game before you even get stuck on a puzzle. So I think it's very smart that way. It like gives you a different thing to focus on if you're struggling. But you know,
Yeah,
this is a game from 30 years later. So
yeah. Also, I don't know where the idea that Myst is probably not aged well came from. Like I
that's
didn't
just his
really engage
assumption.
with it, and you thought that it did age well and that you loved it. So
Yeah.
not listening to either of us really.
Well, here is, and we have a couple of emails here from our friends, the two Steves. Steven is first. Well, I'm going to make him first. He said, hey, bad boys. I looked up a long play of Myst, probably the same one Will found, and I think I spotted some of the exact places he described where he couldn't see things. And I gotta say, I think that this is on him for his specific vision problems. I have notably terrible vision, to the point where it can't be fully fixed even with corrective lenses, and I still had no trouble seeing the buttons. But I'm also traditionally nearsighted as opposed to whatever is wrong with him. So many of the things Will was describing about how he couldn't grasp how Myst progression works sounded very similar to the way progression works in The Witness, though I can confirm that that game telegraphs this progression pretty effectively. I'm curious whether Will would enjoy that game more, or whether he'd be equally frustrated by many of its almost literal think-outside-the-box puzzle solutions. Also, I'm glad that we got a test case for whether Will would be inspired to return to Link to the Past. Given how much he enjoyed it and how he has hated some other games, I was wondering if the next time he really hated a game, whether he would have that, wait a minute, I could be playing a game I actually enjoy right now moment and pivot back to Zelda. Sounds like that did not happen. We'll see if it ever does. Keep up the good work, Steven. Did that not happen?
I mean, I did beat one more dungeon in Zelda. I wasn't that much on it because I do tend to just be like, yeah, if I'm supposed to be playing a game for this week, if I'm going to be playing a game, I should be playing a game for this week. Which makes it very hard to keep up with the games that I like it's the thing. I don't know, is this a thing you do where you're like I kind of want to play a game, oh, but if I'm going to play a game, it should be the one for this week, but I don't really want to do that right now, so I'm going to go do something that's not play a game. And so then I don't play Zelda or, you know what I mean? Like, is that a thing you do? Because that's a thing that I do, for sure.
It's I don't. The thing that I do is maybe kind of what is I will sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm playing a new game that I like that's not for the show, and sometimes I will play that. But usually, like this week, I was playing a bunch of Claire Obscure, which I started.
Mhm.
But I also like beat Kirby all the way through in one sitting on like Tuesday or something. So I felt I had the freedom to do that. Whereas I,
Mhm.
I do think, yeah, if I have a game for the show that I haven't played significantly enough yet, depending on where we are in the week, I definitely feel pressure to play that. But I play video games. So
Yeah.
that is,
Yeah, no, that's fair. But I mean, listen, this is a game that I did in fact say I might play more of, and I did in fact go back and play more of, which, is rare for me, or Zelda is, I should say, not this, because I don't want people to think
yeah,
that's missed.
Zelda.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I did beat one more dungeon, and it was kind of funny because it was a dungeon you said was super easy, and I had a ton of trouble with it because it used a
Well, I said
generic
it was easy
Zelda
to find, at least.
Okay, okay. Well, it was
But
funny
yes.
because it should have been easy, but it had a Zelda mechanic that I just never bothered engaging with. It was another example of like I could imagine you didn't even realize this because there in order to get through it, you had to throw a bomb over a barrier. And I just
Mm.
got to that point and was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to bomb that, but it's on the other side of the barrier, so I don't know how to get to that yet." And then I spent forever trying to figure it out because I had never needed to throw a bomb before, so it wasn't in my like toolbox. But I figured it out eventually.
I feel like when you first get bombs, they say you can throw them on screen. I think it
They
tells you
do. Oh
that.
yeah, no, it tells you that more than just when you first. It tells you that like all the time, but it was never a thing that I did because I was like, I don't need to, and I might blow myself up. So I just wasn't thinking about it. And listen, if it didn't tell me it constantly, I wouldn't have figured it out, but it did, and I did eventually figure it out.
Well, there you go.
It's like the using the book by going into the menu and selecting it rather than just having it thing. Like
Right.
it's like, "Oh, yeah, of course, because that's how Zelda works," but I'm just not a Zelda player.
Yeah. I think it's also maybe how other games might work too. I don't think Zelda's unique in the have item selected to use proposition. But
Well, the universality of it. The fact that, like, everything is, like, go into start menu to find thing to you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
just like, I got the book, so now I have a power up where I can read the language.
Yeah, well, on that, as long as we're on the Zelda tangent, Avatar Protocol had another comment about A Link to the Past about how he said he remembers reading the magazines at the time, trying to figure out what these amazing sounding items did and what the gameplay was like based on that. Items like the Pegasus boots were like, can Link fly in a game with this perspective? Dashing like that wasn't really a thing in other games beyond basic running. How do you use items like a Book of Medora, a Cane of Birna, the Magic Cape, and especially the hook shot? They just sounded so epic on paper, way better than the items and spells from Zelda 2. You could barely even imagine what these things even did, even if it was written down, if you hadn't seen it before.
Mhm.
It's true.
Oh,
I take it for granted.
speaking of the hook shot, you had also mentioned that you always use the hook shot because it stuns enemies and picks up items like a boomerang. But I continued using the boomerang because the main reason I pick up items with it is so I can just keep moving, and you have to stay still while picking up an item with the hook shot.
Okay.
Just a
Whatever
little.
floats your boat.
Listen, I did more things with that game since last time we
That's
talked,
nice.
so
Listen, that's nice. I'm proud of
now
you
I
for
have more
that.
opinions now that we're on it.
How about Steven blaming your vision completely? Do you think that that's fair? Because I do.
I mean, it's probably fair. It's probably fair. I do have my vision is not plus or minus anything. It's not nearsighted or farsighted. My eyes just don't focus light properly. Like it's not that it focuses them to the wrong spot and needs to be adjusted. That's why I can't wear glasses and I have to wear contacts.
You needed the like colorblind accessible
Mhm.
contrast high version or something.
Yeah, I need high contrast version. Yeah, no, my vision very specifically turns down contrast.
Yeah. It does feel like really most of your complaints should have been directed at your own eyes, your own DNA, and not the game. I do think that's fair.
Mhm.
But not everyone feels that way. Here's one more email from Steve P. That's pretty interesting and pretty long. And here's what he wrote.
Okay. Okay.
I love Myst, but there was a time when I really, really didn't. Design-wise, Myst is a clever, soulful, revolutionary game, but its original version was hacked into bits and pissed on by the limitations of 1993 consumer
Jesus.
hardware.
Oh my
Jonathan is
God.
really mean for not giving Will the real Myst remake from 2000, and instead making him play the PowerPoint version, which only exists as a series of compromises. Your wide gap in review scores is more or less how I would rank 93 Myst against real Myst, and it's all due to the difference in presentation. Sure, Myst looked great when it came out, it sounded great, it was well written, but all of that was hampered with an atrocious control scheme that brought the whole experience down. I felt so annoyed and lost because I couldn't engage with the game as intended. I didn't know where I was in relation to anything around me, what I was expected to do, or how I was supposed to do it. I felt how Will felt. My first and second and third impression of Myst was very negative, and it was all because of the click-to-move setup. Navigating my way through 93 Myst was very difficult and unintuitive. I didn't have problems moving through most of the other graphic adventure games, since they were usually laid out as separate 2D areas with clear exits. Myst's approach was to make a full 3D world, take a frustratingly limited number of camera angles, and with a few exceptions connect them with zero transition. How am I supposed to enjoy anything about this game when I don't enjoy interacting with it on a basic level? I'm going to skip through some of this. There's a lot of this. I was only
Is your
able
heart
to
rate soaring again?
I'm dead inside now. I only was able to develop any spatial awareness within real Myst. Turns out Myst is pretty damn good once you can actually play it. After several failed attempts to enjoy Myst in its original form, I was now comfortable to just wander through and sightsee. I no longer had trouble figuring out what the game expected of me. Real Myst felt like a completely different game, a much more coherent game with a world that makes sense. This must be how Jonathan sees the original Myst when he plays it. Real Myst hooked me right away and kept me playing to the end. Once I appreciated being inside the game, I enjoyed the puzzles, including finding the puzzle is a puzzle, and I was invested in the backstories of the game's worlds. I think 9.6 is a fair score for Real Myst, but I can't think of a good reason to play any previous version.
Interesting. Yeah, because I mean, I did it. Is that do we? Let's see, because the first Myst we're trying to be in 3 dimensions, and like it seems that Steepy is characterizing this as a compromise, right? Like that Myst is supposed to be in 3 dimensions, but this is the best they could do with the PowerPoint. And I'm curious. Do we think that that is the case, that the creators envisioned it in 3 dimensions and then said this is how we're going to do that because this is what our tech can be, or do we think that they envisioned it as a PowerPoint because they were like, I bet I could emulate 3D using a PowerPoint?
Yeah, so I definitely do not think it was a compromise.
Okay.
We talked about it in the episode, but if you look back at the creators' history, there are other games we mentioned were on this HyperCard program. I mean, Myst was also on the HyperCard program. It's on some level. And I, in this big interview done with one of the creators years later that I watched, he says something to the effect of, if HyperCard was still around now, I'd still make games with HyperCard. So I do think they actually loved this method. Now, if at the time CD-ROMs were capable of having a fully 3D world you could navigate, would they have pivoted and maybe said, "Oh, let's step it up"? Maybe, but I don't think it's fair to say that like they were like, "Oh, this is the only way we can do it. We have to do it this way." Like I do think at least on some level they thought this was cool. They liked this style.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that I'm feel like digging into with that, in terms of like, do I agree? Do I agree with the distinction of like real Myst is the one that doesn't have that compromise? Because like it feels like maybe Steve P had even more issues than me with finding a sense of place in the world, but I did have issues with that. There were times where I had to like click back and forth between screens multiple times just because of the difference between like Well, sometimes you turn 90 degrees and sometimes 180, and so it's not
Yes,
it's not
the part I skipped, he basically says exactly that.
yeah, like, so it's not consistent, so it's hard to tell. And I was also I think I did say this last episode, but I do think another issue with the tower mechanic was also that it was not clear to me that I was inside the tower when I like go through the secret passageway and then go into the elevator. I know I'm in something underground, but like I did do a thing where I was like, maybe I need to do something with the tower at this map and then check the tower. And of course, what I do is go outside and look at the tower because that's where it is. And maybe if it had been clearer to me that I was in the tower when I did that, the puzzle would have made itself known to me. I don't know, like 'cause there were definitely the lack of a good sense of place was part of the issue to some degree, for sure.
I almost had the opposite, where I don't even think I realized you could see the tower from outside. I never tried to
Mm.
look at it. I was just like, that never occurred to me. I was just like, I don't know, that thing changed when I turned this
Mm.
around. I guess that's a tower.
Interesting.
Um,
Yeah, in terms of it being easier with the full 3D, I do think I discussed that like that probably would have made it easier for me, but I don't know how many problems it would solve. Steve P seems to think it would have solved a lot of problems for me, and maybe it would have.
I said as much on the episode. I think maybe it would have helped you, but this goes back to me not being able to predict anything about you, or maybe even our listeners too. Because for me, I'll just reiterate: I have never played Real Mist. I've like seen videos of it. I kind of know what it looks like, but the version that I played of Mist in my life for the first time when I was like in my 20s. Like, this isn't like, oh, nostalgia when I was a kid. I played it as an adult. Was this the original Mist? Possibly, maybe the Masterpiece Edition, but that also still has the slideshow effect. And so I never had these issues. This was not something that I was easy for me to predict, because to me, it's like colorizing a movie. It's like that's not what Mist is meant to be in my mind.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I just don't agree with the idea that, oh my God, it's like unplayable and that the other version is a straight upgrade in every single way. Also, I mean, just point this out too. All those Steve P we mentioned had left all these comments about, oh, I can't wait to see Will play Mist. Never once said, hey, make sure he plays real Mist. Where was that, Steve? You weren't helping out with that. What'd you expect? You know what the show
Yeah.
is. We play the original version. You could have said something.
Right, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Listen. I can fully come to terms with the idea that both a the creator's original vision was to do it in this hypercard format, and b it might be just a straight improvement to not do it that way. Like, I appreciate that that's their artistic vision potentially. It seems like it might have been, but also maybe it is just a more fun, better game to not do it that way. Like, I don't know, but I don't
I don't
actually know.
know.
Maybe it's not. It is for Steve P. So
Yeah,
take that into account, listeners, if you want to play Mist.
right. I also will say that, and I'm double checking because I don't think this is true. I don't think Riven ever got a 3D remake, or maybe it did eventually, but there's not a real Riven.
Is that
Maybe
what it's
there
called? Is it called like Real Mist or something?
Real Mist, one word, is the name of the.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
the three there, but it's a little. I'm even confused by it because there's also like a later Mist remake that I think is called Mist again. That's also in 3D. So I'm like,
Hmm.
I don't know, but I think maybe I thought that, oh well, since Riven's not in, there is no 3D version. It would also be like even more jarring if you had to readjust from the first game. But maybe that's not true. Maybe there is a. I think maybe there is a 3D Riven that they made eventually. Anyway, speaking of Riven, we did have questions as to whether or not it was even worth exposing you to Riven.
Hmm.
One person here on Reddit by the name Isotrex said this: within 10 minutes of conversation, you both agreed playing an adventure game together might be helpful to understand each other. Then you said neither of you had played Riven. This is a perfect opportunity. Play it together, then podcast about it. Why not even live stream it on Twitch so we can all experience it together? I don't think it will be a lost cause if you both are able to talk through the solutions and puzzles together.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I'm a little bit, I'm almost split on that because I'm like, wow, great idea. But also, you know what the real truth is that I love Myst and I'd like to play Riven and experience it on my own. And
Like
I
on
think
your own.
there's a chance you would ruin it for me and you would piss me off. Or you might just I'd like to play like a King's Quest 3 with you because I don't really give a shit. But I'm like, oh, but I don't like, I want to solve the puzzles. What if I don't want you to help me with a Riven puzzle, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I do get that impulse, right? Saying like, if you loved this game so fucking much, right? Just saying like, hey, if the best case scenario is that you get to play this on your own, except that sometimes I solve a puzzle before you do, and then you don't get to solve that puzzle. I mean, that is potentially a downgrade, right? If you
Yeah.
if because if you're rating Mist that highly, there really isn't a lot of room to improve the experience, right? There's not much I can do to make it better, right? There's a lot of space for me to make it worse. You know, if it was like a 5, it'd be like, yeah, there's a lot of space for me to maybe improve it just because you get to do it with a friend and that could be cool. But
But
yeah, I mean, I'd have to
if
get it up to like a 10.
if enough people demand it, think it would be interesting, then I could be convinced. I mean, it's my own fault that I've taken this long and not played it by this point.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I will also end up just streaming it. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe
Yeah,
I'll
that could
stream.
be,
Maybe you'll spectate and yell at
yes.
me for being dumb.
Or maybe we go back to Myst. Like that could be maybe one stream is like I just tell you one of the fucking puzzles. You just do the tower, and maybe you'll actually play more of it. And maybe something will, even if you don't like it, it could at least be an experiment that we try.
hmm
You sound
Yeah,
excited about it.
yeah. I don't know. I do think that something like this, in some capacity. Listen, we're gonna kick off that streaming thing. I'm gonna kick off my platforming boot camp, and that'll give us an in
That's
to
right.
figure out what we're doing in a broader sense. So we'll see.
Yeah. Also, welcome to Ice Ifrit Gaming, who also had a few comments and went back and was watching some of our back catalog and commented on our Monkey Island episode because he said he's apparently watching them in reverse order. It said, "I feel
Right.
like a time traveler, and I just want to reach through the screen and warn you of the impending Mist fiasco."
Well, that is the proper way. It's a little sneaky behind the scenes. We've been releasing all of these in reverse order. We're seeing if anybody
Yeah.
noticed.
Also commented on the King's Quest episode, said, "As a time traveler from the future, I can tell you the signs are already there. He's going to fuck up playing Myst. Be warned." If only we had these warnings in place.
Oh no.
All right. So obviously that was a lot. We had a lot there, but you know, and there were also there was at least one that was a lot meaner that I don't want to read.
Mm.
But
Well,
I
I
do
mean, to
want
be
you to know
honest,
it was there.
I was expecting a lot of really mean ones, so I'm surprised that you held back.
Well, that's, you know, it's bad when I read a comment disagreeing with you and I'm like, "Oh, come on, dude. He's not that dumb."
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, they're over there. You can always comment on the YouTube if you have more thoughts about Myst, although I think we've probably exhausted that subject for a while on this show. Or thoughts about Kirby's Adventure or anything else, you can email us badwithgamespodcast@gmail.com. And you can always go to our Patreon, patreon.com/badwithgames, $5 a month to get our Discord channel plus bonus episodes. This week, we're going to be watching the film Grave of the Fireflies. Graveyard of the Fireflies? Is it a yard or just one grave?
I believe it is just one grave. I don't think there are any yards.
Okay. So we're watching that over there on the Patreon if you want to hear
Right. Our Kirby
thoughts.
companion piece.
That's right. And what else? There's Worse with Games where you can find our extra stuff, and now twitch.tv/badwithgamespodcast. Check that out as well. Next week on the show, we are going to be playing kind of a long-awaited one for a lot of people. It's been a long time. It's been almost maybe 6 months since we played a game in this series, but we are making our triumphant return to the world of Ultima, as we will be playing Ultima 4, Quest of the Avatar.
Avatar
That's a big
Protocol
one.
will be pleased.
That's right. This one's for you. Sometimes I'm worried. I'm like, oh, Avatar Protocol is going to stop listening to the show before we get back to Ultima.
Well, just wait when I fuck up that game and give it a 1.3 and all the Ultima fans are like, we're out. I'm out. Fuck this.
Yeah.
And ruin it for everybody.
Well, you better tune in to that one next week. And then I think we're, as gamers, out.